I was bad. It went on at 7 o'clock. So I talked to Todd twice.
Oh wait, Todd made it 2 seconds after we went live.
Tony, you made it.
Todd!
Oh, good. So your internet's on.
I made it, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, the internet went on around 7 o'clock. Cheers, man. Everybody got a drink?
Cheers, everyone out in the audience. Cheers.
Wait for Mike. Bust the one open. All right.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, everybody. I'm looking forward to this. It should be fun. I hope.
The best part is Tony is literally having internet problems is one of the things that we normally talk about at the end of a convention when we're sitting around drinking.
Yeah, well, I haven't been to the last convention I was at was Alan actually at Gen Con. Was it 2001?
Oh, really? That's probably the last Gen Con I was at.
Yeah, it was the last time it was in Milwaukee, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Todd, were you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That was the last time I saw it.
Probably.
Well, it was.
Wow.
Because I was already laid off by 99, wasn't it?
From Wizards?
From Watson.
Was it 99?
99, yeah, I think it was 99, 98, somewhere's in there.
Damn.
Yeah, that's probably about right.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to introduce yourselves to everybody, like who you are, what sort of art you do?
I'm Todd Lockwood. I paint dragons.
I'm Tony Szczudlo, and I paint shit. No, was a freelance illustrator for a while. Got hired by FASA, did some Shadowrun, BattleTech, Earthdawn stuff. Hired a TSR, primarily Birthright. Then toward the end of my duration there, I got into Magic the Gathering, and I was doing that for a while. And now I'm doing some more card art and art in between. And also I was a correctional officer at McHenry County Jail and worked security for a pharmaceutical company for 7 or 8 years. So that's what I've been doing.
Nice.
I'm Alan Pollack. I worked with those two, Todd and Tony, at TSR for a while there. That was a lot of fun. I started out with fantasy for the most part, but now I'm doing science fiction, I guess, is what I've been doing for a while. Really haven't done a lot of fantasy in a long time, since Magic probably, but every once in a while these card games come through and I do some fantasy stuff. But working on the same thing that Tony's working on right now, and doing a lot of work for Bane Books is really what's been going on. But trying to do my own personal stuff, which Tony was watching a week or so ago.
Nice, very nice.
Thanks.
I was going to say, that's not fantasy, Al? An octopus?
I don't know what it is. I don't know. It's not. I guess it is. I don't know what you would call it, but
it's the
anyway.
Alan Pollack mind.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to move in another direction, really. So.
Yeah, well, good luck with that, man.
What?
We all tried to move in a different direction for a while, man, but it's just we always seem to come back to the same fucking place. Oh shit! Did I drop the first F-bomb?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Here's the second one.
Ding. Ding.
Wait. So wait. Should we have a rule that like you have to like take a drink whenever someone drops the F-bomb?
Oh shit! I'm gonna be.
Tony could have us all drunk.
I don't think I have enough beer.
I didn't say take a shot.
I just said two. So here you go. I got a little champagne going here, and strawberries.
Strawberries. Oh man!
I've been picking strawberries out of my front garden.
Cool.
And eating them.
I thought you were going to say you were picking them out somewhere else.
Huh?
I thought you were going to say you were picking them out of somewhere else. I've been picking strawberries, and then you had a pause.
Butt crack.
That would say out of your ass, and then you've been eating them.
We actually started a garden on our we have a hill on the back, right on the back of our house, and we've been terracing it off. And my girlfriend's been planting a whole bunch of stuff for the past couple of weeks. But I just learned that when you're cooking with green onions, when you chop off the tops of green onions, you can just stick them in the ground and they'll just regrow. Oh. So I have a whole section of my garden now that's just going to be a green onion forest. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. That's pretty cool.
Well, garlic. I grow a lot of garlic. It's kind of similar. You just take a clove and stick it in the ground, and it's grows a whole head out of one little clove. It's crazy. It's really easy to do too.
Our sister just posted up on Instagram. Her and her husband, I think, just pulled up 80 garlic plants, and they were like, "We have garlic for the rest of the year now." And it was a wheelbarrow filled with garlic. It was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I did that.
That's just for the year, and then that much garlic would last me I might have to throw half of it away.
No, that'll actually 80 heads of garlic only gets us about 4 months. So we go through a lot of garlic.
I went to the local grocery store, and they had in their produce section, they had a saran wrap tray filled with garlic cloves, and it was $3 for I don't even know how many garlic cloves. Right. And I cooked with 3 of them, and then I was like, well, I don't want these to go to waste, so I just dumped them onto a baking sheet and baked them in the oven, and then was just eating them with a fork. I was just I just ate so much garlic.
Yeah. Good stuff.
The garlic's not my thing, man. I'm too old for garlic, I think.
Get out of here.
Yeah, man, I get the acid reflux and shit, man. I'm fucking. There's times I wake up in the middle of the night just going, and then I have to try.
I've been there. I've been there.
Isn't that fucked up, man? Shit.
Yeah, it's bad.
Cheers.
Oh man. Oh, this is gonna go bad.
Oh, come on, Paul. That was just 3 only, man.
No, there was the 4th.
Oh shit. Okay, I'm gonna say shit from now on. Hey, well, for my personal mind, can you guys introduce yourself? Because I don't know who the fuck you guys are. You seem like you're really cool and shit, but and Todd, told me a little bit about you, but I haven't a clue what you guys fucking do. So let me know.
So we met in Mid-South Town in 2003 or 4?
4. I think 4.
Okay, in Memphis, right?
Yeah. Whichever you were the guest of honor there.
Yeah.
The first convention we went to was to go there to we wanted to meet you, and then we found out how much you drink, and I was like, I'm going to drink with that dude and become his friend. But so Paul and I started about 18 years ago. We're both doing different things. Paul was getting a master's degree in computer science. I was working in computers, and I lost my job. And so I was like, I always wanted to be an artist. That was my goal. So let's do it. We started selling our art, but Paul liked to dress up as an elf when we did shows.
Not to interrupt you guys, but how old were you at this time?
25.
Oh, so you were kind of a late bloomer, realizing that you wanted to get into the art field.
Well, I always did art, but I am a person that likes to do 500 different things. So I never settled down until at 25. I'm like, okay, I'm going to college for art. I'm going to sell art, and that's what I'm going to do.
So your focus is primarily like a ferret, You had all that shit going on, jumping back and forth all over the place, right? Yeah.
Well, for me, my undergrad, I did art history and computer science with a minor in studio art. So I was doing sculpture, drawing classes in college. But then I ended up, I wanted to stay in Nashville. The girl I was dating at the time was 2 years younger than me. And so she had 2 more years of college. So I ended up going back to my undergraduate college for a master's degree in computer science. And so I got a computer science degree essentially to stay in school so I could still hang out with my current girlfriend. And then after I graduated,
so we went out on the road. We started selling art. It didn't make any money at first, but Paul liked to dress as an elf, so everyone wanted his elf ears. And I'm a guy that likes to do a little bit of everything. So I was like, well, we could start selling those. So we started selling elf ears. Then we started manufacturing them. And then we're definitely the biggest in America elf ear manufacturer, but we're probably the best known elf ear manufacturer in the world. We sculpt them. We put them on what Paul's wearing, paint them up to match people's skin tone, and just send them out all over. So that's our day job. And then we kept the art going and just kept doing that as well.
That elf ear day job, man, that's fucking crazy that you guys came up with it. You know what I mean? Like, we're the biggest manufacturer of elf ears in the world. That's
basically it.
That's, you can say that, man. You know what I mean? Hey, we do the best. We do the best elf ears, and
pretty much any elf ears you saw at any convention were Eridani elf ears.
If they're good ears.
If they're good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of Chinese competitors now. They even use our name to try to drum up keywords online.
Try to promote their shit, huh? I wanted to say something, man, but I'm not going to say it. Okay? I was going to be politically.
What was that? Fuck?
I was going to say, I'm just going to say they're fucking Chinese. Trying to steal your shit, plagiarists. All right, that's the last thing.
I will drink to that.
Actually, today it wasn't the Chinese, it was the Bulgarians. Today someone pointed out that there was a Bulgarian t-shirt company that was making t-shirts featuring some of our old Wheel of Time artwork.
Oh,
so I had to send them a message to be like, hey, I know you don't have the license to sell this. I don't even have the license to sell this anymore. So you need to take it down. And they're like, oh, we'll figure out who was the one that gave us this artwork. And I was like, hey, when you figure out who's the one that gave you that artwork, you need to send them to me so that I can also talk to them to make sure that there's more than just you. And they were like,
I did, you're talking Wheel of Time? I did Wheel of Time art, man.
Which one?
I don't know. I don't know what the fuck they were, man. But
the CCG game, probably.
It was a card game.
Yeah.
Jim Ward was like running the shit.
Oh.
Yep.
Was that a TSR license then?
Who did? I don't know who did that card game. I know Elmore did one card. I own a card. So this is actually a really cool story. So I got licensed through a convention called Jordan Con. I met Robert Jordan's widow, and through that meeting became a licensed artist. And a couple years ago, I was at a convention, and I happened to see in their charity auction. It was actually Mid-South Con, Todd. It always goes back to Mid-South Con.
I know. I met so many people there that I'm still in contact with all the time.
In their charity auction, they had this little piece of art that said print, and next to it was a card. And it had both sides. It had two copies of the card, one face down, one face up, and it was autographed. And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." Someone did artwork for this CCG game, and then they matted it up in this cool mat board. And then I realized it wasn't a print; that it was the original acrylic painting for the card art.
Wow.
It was in their charity auction for $15.
Oh man!
And I walked home with it for $15. Then I ended up framing it, and then I took it to Jordan Con and got the three members of Team Jordan, which is Alan Romanchik, Harriet McDougall, and Maria Simmons. They all signed it. Got Brandon Sanderson to sign it, and then ended up getting a book plate with Robert Jordan's signature on it. And so now I have this piece of artwork that the coolest part is Mike ended up pointing out that the artist was a friend of ours that we had met at Chattacon. What was his name again, Mike? Ken Waters. And so I now have this piece of history of an artist that I used to be good friends with at conventions and signed by everyone involved. And I'm just like, how did this happen?
You guys see that shit that I put up there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you needed to hold it up a little higher. We could only see the title.
Pull it back. Pull it back a bit.
There you go. A little closer.
A little closer.
What book is that? What?
That's my art on the back.
Sweet. I don't even recognize what book that is.
It's from Forsaken.
Oh, okay. So it's part of the card game. Okay.
That's what I said. Card art, man. Didn't I say that? Okay.
When you were holding it up, it looked like a book.
It did look like a book. I agree.
Oh, the thing's like small, man. Look,
Oh,
I did that good, didn't I? Fucking A, there you go. Drink.
it's all about perspective. You're like, that looks huge. Oh no, that's really tiny.
I'm starting to get used to moving on the camera to see how, to see. You see my spawn shit in the back?
I do.
Oh yeah.
That's I had to put some kind of backdrop. I'm in my fucking kitchen, so that's like the stand-up from the movie, from the video when they were selling the video in video stores. Remember when you used to have fucking video stores? Yeah, I won that.
I thought he was actually in your kitchen there.
He is, man. I wish I had a light to make his eyes glow right now.
There you go.
Come on, I'll talk, man. Say some shit.
Well, Paul, you mentioned Chattacon. When were you at Chattacon?
We've actually been at Chattacon every year from like 2006 till last year. I think.
Really? Well, then you must have been there when I was the guest of honor, because I was there a couple of years ago, I think, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah, we would have had to have been there. How did we not? How were we not on panels together?
I don't know. It was weird. It was weird. I was on. I wasn't on a lot of panels, and the ones that I were on, it was just kind of strange. But I was trying to find as many things to do as I could while I was there. But it's a cool town. It was really cool. I really liked it.
I've been twice. Did Tony Weisskopf show you around?
Yeah. So I did some panels with her, and I mean, I did a lot of hanging out. Really, there was a lot of walking around and going to restaurants, and it wasn't like, I mean, I haven't been to too many conventions except other than like LuxCon was a while ago now, but
oh man,
back in the day when we Todd, when you and I, like Worldcon and things like that, even LunaCon, they would have publishers parties, where you were, it was like just all the artists were there, all the publishers were there, the art directors were there, and it was just like this big networking thing. And it seems to have what?
Petri dish.
Yeah, well, it seems to. I don't know. I mean, it seems to have died off. I don't know that they even still do that anymore.
Yeah, there's still publisher parties.
Yeah.
That's because
I haven't been to a Worldcon in a long time.
Right.
When you talk about Worldcon, that year you and I did San Antonio.
Right.
And one of the things I will never forget, because it ties two people together, or two things together which don't belong together, but you and I were having lunch, I think, down in the Riverwalk at the Hooters, and it was on their TV that word came over of the death of Princess Di.
Yeah, I remember down there.
And so, now I can't dissociate Princess Di from Hooters. If I think of one, I think of the other. That's just wrong.
That's fucking sacrilegious, man.
It's just wrong, but
there was nothing. I mean, honestly, there was like nothing open down on the Riverwalk at the time to get something to eat. So, and I seem to remember the Dallas Cowboys were playing on TV, which was kind of, I can't stand the Cowboys, but to actually see them on TV in Texas was like pretty crazy.
Hey Todd, remember when we were at Dragon Con? He's talking about what was on TV. Remember we were in the bar at Dragon Con in 97, 97, and what was on TV is Tyson biting Holyfield's fucking ear off. Remember that?
No, I don't.
I don't.
No, wow.
Yeah, that happened at Dragon Con, man. I swear to God, I was there. I swear to God.
Dragon Con or Gen Con?
We were watching it in the bar, and
when were you?
like sitting there saying,
do you mean Gen Con?
No, I mean Dragon Con.
Dragon Con. God, I don't even know.
Yeah, remember when you had to sleep in the fucking bathtub because I was snoring so bad?
Yeah, that I remember.
You guys ain't drinking, man. I'm dropping them all over the fucking place.
Sleeping in the bathtub, my.
Yeah, I forced him to sleep in the bathtub because I was snoring so fucking bad. And it was. Remember we were having that the shit shipped to us, or some artwork and books and stuff to get signed from people back at TSR. You don't remember that, do you?
Oh man, that's 23 years ago, and I've done so many conventions.
You know what's weird is, my memory goes, man. Like I can't remember what I just fucking said, but I remember shit like that because it touched me. Not touched me, but it had an effect on me. Me and you, and we hung out and we bonded and shit. Not in a weird way, you know what I mean? But we bonded. But anyway,
I don't think I ever roomed with you, Todd. Have I don't think I ever roomed with you, did I?
No, I don't think so. No.
I roomed with Jeff Easley. And
Jeff,
Donato.
He's something funny to room with, man.
yeah,
Well,
but
he
he's
snores
worse than anybody I've ever shared a room with.
At least you don't have to worry about Jeff talking too much and keeping you awake at night.
Yeah,
No.
but he's a big snorer too.
Yeah, he is.
Although I snore too, so I can't say anything.
Yeah.
Well, we all snore. We don't know unless someone tells us we fucking snore.
Right.
You guys ain't drinking. Me and Todd are gonna be wasted by the time. Man.
I'm almost down to the bottom of my pint.
I'll be fine.
I've already filled up 4 glasses of champagne.
I mean, to be fair, I could change the banner up at the top to say "Getting Todd Drunk on a Bi-weekly Basis." I could just read it.
Hey, for as far as changing banners, I noticed you say Paul B. and it's Mike and your whole name, Alan Pollack, his whole name is Todd Lowe, and you got my whole fucking name. And I got the long, you guys compete with me as far as long names, but can you change what mine says?
That's Todd's stage name.
You can change it. Oh wait, I might be. All right, what do you want me to? What is it? Should it say?
It should say S. Get rid of the Tony fuck. The Tony fuck.
Get rid of the Tony.
Get rid of the Tony.
S.
S-Z, S-U D-Z. And that's it.
Son.
Yep. And that's a shout back all to my people. If anybody's watching from high school and stuff, that's what my nickname was in high school, Suds.
Oh, I'm not putting my nickname from high school up here.
And everybody thought my nickname was Suds. Oh, you must drink a lot of beer because it's Suds. I go, nah, it's not what it fucking means, you moron.
My first year,
Z's and C's than anything.
Yeah, you got a lot of.
my first day of high school, they're calling you out to put you in the homeroom. The coach did this to me. I'll never forget. He's like, Mike Ballsack? Mike Ballsack? And then the football player behind me fell down the back of my shirt. So I'm trying to stand up, but I couldn't. So that was my nickname all through high school. Thanks to that fucking coach.
You tried to stand up and you couldn't because you're a ball sack?
Yeah.
No.
Oh man, that's funny. That is funny.
Oh man.
Hey, Todd, you got a tale from us for Todd from high school?
From high school?
What were you like in high school, man?
In high school, oh man, I was really private and quiet and shy, and I just drew a lot. I drew caricatures of my teachers.
Do you have a girlfriend?
Post them out. No, I had wannabes. I didn't have a girlfriend in high school.
You played D&D, right?
Not till after high school, actually.
Oh.
No, high school was.
I've seen all the artwork from your D&D campaigns because they're in all of your books. So after high school.
Yeah, I was 19 when I discovered D&D.
Todd, what were you doing when you got hired to TSR?
I was free.
What were you doing? Were you working for anybody else in the industry before you got hired to TSR?
Painting condensation on beer cans.
No, I had done some work for
Dewdrops. You painted a lot of dewdrops.
Yeah, I painted a lot of dewdrops on beer cans. Now I did some work for Chaosium for a card game.
Okay.
And I did some paintings for Phil Folio's Xenophile card game.
Well, what did you show TSR to get hired? What were you showing them?
He showed him Stephen Donnelly.
That's good. Well, I had done some work for Asimov magazine.
Okay.
That was in my portfolio. And some personal work, so like Cerberus and Kali and
The Cerberus piece is fantastic.
Oh, that was in your portfolio, the Cerberus and Kali?
yeah.
Oh wow.
Both are great pieces, man.
Yeah, they're great pieces. Well, that's cool.
Especially the Cerberus, man. The detail in that. If you can sit there and look at that for hours and just look for shit, you know. It's in there.
My favorite one out of that's the same idea that you've done now is the devil and angel painting is that's crazy.
Angel. Well, those 3 pieces were all kind of personal pieces that I always wanted to do. And, you know, when you're working commissions for a living, you just never get a chance to do anything for yourself.
Yeah, it's true.
That is true.
That's the hardest thing I find is trying to do your work for your job, but then trying to pursue your own stuff while you're doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everybody's got
especially you now that you're writing too. That's got to be.
I know, what the fuck was I thinking?
We're thinking like Mike up there got to do 25 different things at one fucking time, man.
No,
We
really,
actually went-
2 things. I wanted to own something finally because all the work I was doing
You
was
guys are not drinking.
I got to go get something. I want to hear what Todd has to say, and then I got to go get something.
what the hell was
All
that?
right, what you were saying, you wanted to do something.
What was I saying?
You wanted to do something that was yours.
I wanted to own something finally.
Right.
You know, I don't own anything I did for Wizards of the Coast. They own all of that.
Yeah, we
Right.
all sold out on that shit, man.
And even the originals, I sold them all to some collector, and I realized now I should have held on to them.
Right.
And, sold them at a sweeter price.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys are still married. I'm married now again, but I mean, when I went through my divorce, I sold off almost everything I owned to just pay the bills, get through it, because it takes a toll. But you know, but yeah, you know, it's too bad that their policy hasn't changed
Well, it's
on
improved.
owning the rights on the way they own everything.
Yeah, but
You know.
they have improved. You can use a great deal more of it in an art book, for example, than they
Right.
So
Hey guys, what's the percentage on that as far as using copyrighted stuff that you did for companies? Because
if I remember right, you can have up to 40% of the volume of your art collection be art from any one particular brand. So you could have 40% of your book could be D&D, and 40% could be Magic, and the last 20% could be your own stuff, and that would be okay.
Oh well, that's great because then I can
So
have,
actually, yeah, really generous. You know,
I can have FASA, I can have TSR,
Yeah.
I can have what I did for Harry Potter and Magic and all that kind of shit. So
Yeah.
I got my book covered, man. Hopefully one day it'll be out. Hopefully before I fucking croak, you know.
And poor Jeff, his entire career practically.
They're gonna start coming, guys. So you better get everybody filled up. Because they are going to be coming.
What is that, wine?
It's wine. Yeah, I'm out of vodka.
I got what I got here is Corbel Dry.
There you go. All right, I gotta go get something. I'll be right back.
All right, Al. Hopefully you know where you're going there, buddy.
So Tony, I actually bought some champagne the other day when we were at the store. I got in just like we were talking about having the garden kick during the COVID stuff. I started making ice cream, and I bought some champagne the other day because I'm going to try to make ice cream with champagne.
Oh, that should taste very, very good, man. I'd love to taste some of that.
If it doesn't work, it doesn't matter because it's ice cream and booze. So whatever.
I don't think you can fuck up with that combination, man. So
Oh.
hey, here you go.
The last batch I made was I ended up looking up a recipe, and there's an ice cream place called Jenny's Ice Cream that was based in Ohio, and it's a pretty much a national chain now. And my little sister loves it, and like their ice cream is amazing. But I found a recipe from their cookbook, so I ended up making a white chocolate ice cream with white chocolate and milk chocolate swirl in it. So it's like a Buckeye or a Reese's Pieces like peanut butter cup in ice cream form. And I was missing one ingredient. I was missing corn syrup. So I substituted Bailey's Irish cream for the corn syrup. So it also has a little bit of Bailey's in it.
Oh man, you know what? Fuck the sour. What did you say the other ingredient was?
light corn syrup.
Yeah, fuck that, like corn syrup shit, man. Bailey's.
Well,
yeah, man. I think you nailed that shit, man.
Well, the reason why you're supposed to corn syrup is corn syrup doesn't freeze fully. So if you mix it in with ice cream, it's supposed to help keep the ice cream from becoming rock hard. But alcohol is also supposed to do the same thing. So I was like,
Exactly,
Cream
man.
and Bailey's.
So
Where'd Alan go? To the fucking store to get shit, man? Fuck.
hey, as long as he's gone for less than 45 minutes, then he beats Dan DeSantos last time.
Man, Dan bailed kind of early, didn't he?
He's probably busy or something making art.
Yeah, he just slipped into the fucking studio and started pushing paint around, man.
I don't have time to draw or to drink. I gotta make some art.
That's funny, man.
So Tony, it's funny. Earlier you talked about, I think you said something about like either switching mediums or doing something or like trying something new. And the other day I've been like, so I normally draw with charcoal. So everything I do is pretty much black and white. And I've been playing around with a couple of different mediums lately. I started messing with Copic markers, but they just didn't work on the paper like I wanted them to. And so then I realized that I had this random pack of watercolor markers at my house. And so I ended up playing with them, and then I ended up buying a 96 pack of watercolor markers. And now I'm goofing around in watercolor. And man, I'm having so much fun. It's so much better. Like alcohol markers are so like you have to be so anal and precise about them. And water, it's like you put it on the page and you splatter some water on it, and you're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, the alcohol markers, man, if you sniff them long enough, you'll be able to work really good, man. Hey, you were talking about different types of things, going different, maybe using different mediums and shit. But I don't know if any of you guys know about this about me, but I work in all kinds of, another one I'm decent at. Well, I'm better at this than I am in oils, actually. Is watercolor and color pencil. That works really, and then you add pastel to that too, where you can put on the powder of the pastel and blend it in with your finger or whatnot, and then you got the hardness of the color pencil. But the watercolor makes a nice touch, and you can do all kinds of crazy shit. But I try to keep it where it's still in the realm. Todd, you know Coder, right?
I know what?
Coder.
Oh yeah, Matt Coder.
Yeah. Coder. I did the portrait of his wife, and I did that in watercolor and color pencil. I didn't even touch it in oil. And is there a way to show pictures up here? I don't think I can. But if you could, like for the next time, if we do this shit,
I can. Let me figure out how to. At the bottom of your screen, Tony, there should be a button that says. Oh, Todd and I are both saying the same thing.
Hey, I can't do it now, but like if we do this again, at least I'd be able to be hooked up, or maybe I can show some artwork. Because I can't show no artwork now. The only artwork I can show is a piece that Alan Pollack gave me for Christmas one time. And it's his first published piece. What do you think, Todd?
My first published piece?
Yeah. You told me it was. Maybe you were fucking lying.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, the White Wolf cover.
Yeah.
A beautiful piece. And
there it is.
When I go, that's not it.
No, I was.
That's one.
This is like my one Wheel of Time piece.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I don't remember you been working on that project, Todd.
Egwene fighting the Torakin, the Shanshan. Yeah, it's a good one.
That was from one of the later books.
I'm not saying it's not good. I just don't remember it. I didn't even know Todd worked on that project.
I don't remember that. So anyway, we can share screen apparently.
Oh, you did it was the Gathering Storm. Okay.
Gathering Storm, right.
It's one right before Tower of Midnight. Yeah, here, I'll show you. This is the piece that I've been working on. So this one is watercolor. Let's see, where's it at? Where are you at? What is going on? What? It's not listed. You're dumb. You're dumb. What? I don't understand. Sometimes it just... I'll just do my entire screen. Wait. And then...
There we go.
Can you guys see it?
Kind of.
It's ridiculously vertical, but
I love the colors, man. They look fucking great, man. With that light, with magenta off the sides there, that glow. That's insane, man. It's really good.
the glow, unfortunately, is all just whoa! Look at that! I just created some there.
What the fuck was that, man?
That was when you share your screen and you're on the same screen as this.
Yeah.
Just goes back in time.
You freaked me out, man. So what the fuck, man?
Yeah, so everything in the center of that was watercolor, and then the glow part right now is all done digitally in Photoshop. Before I committed to making the outer, like right now, the image itself is drawn on white paper. And before I do anything to that white paper, I want to like make sure that I know what I'm doing before I commit. So I dumped it into Photoshop, tweaked it, got what I wanted it to be. And now I'll go back and I'll do the original to match that. And then the print I'll probably always keep as like the Photoshop version, but then the original will be a little bit different. But yeah, Nick says Castlevania for the win, man. I've been watching the Netflix Castlevania show. Holy crap, that is so cool.
Really?
Yeah, it's animated, and like their voice acting cast is crazy. For season 3, at one point I was sitting there drawing, and I looked up and I was like, I know that voice. Is that Bill Nighy? And I looked up. Somehow they got Bill Nighy to be part of Castlevania for season 3, and I'm like, what the hell? So
Castlevania was one of my the second Castlevania, Simon's Quest, was my favorite game for Nintendo when I was.
The second one was definitely one of those ones where you're like, this is so different from the original. This is crazy.
Well, there was like I seem to remember where the guy's walking. It's kind of a side-scrolling thing, and he comes across. He's walking, and then he like does something, and he makes this whole castle come up out of the ground. It was like, that is such a cool game.
Hey,
I got a question for you guys. How come when we're talking that if someone wants to, like, you know, we're not trying to really interrupt you, but we're injecting our thoughts on what you're talking about real quick and letting you try to go on, comes up all garbled. You guys notice that or no? Or is it some my shit?
I noticed it.
No, these protocols are not that efficient yet. Maybe they'll get.
Yeah, there's always issues with online meetings like this.
Mike, he woke up.
Sorry, you're getting into tech stuff, and that's one of the things one of my many jobs I've had. So.
Oh, okay, cool, man.
Mike's the only one that looks like he's in a bar, though.
Yeah, he does. He looks like he's exactly in a fucking bar, man.
Yeah. Well, this is my home studio, so it is a bar.
It is a bar. My studio is a bar.
I'm gonna go pee, honey. Wink.
Oh, there's no winking. Laura's out here with me, so.
Hey, one question for you guys. You were talking about Castlevania. What do you guys think of the Witcher series? The Witcher.
I haven't seen it.
It was all right. I liked it.
The guy who plays Superman plays the main fucking character, man.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I watched it once, and
he does a lot of grunting, man.
Now we're all talking over each other again.
But my daughter, who was a fan of that game, I never played the game, but she told me that that the character that is his name Cavell, the Superman guy.
Yeah.
She says that was a good pick for the character. And then when she saw it, it was like he nails it, man. So I don't know.
How are you doing that?
I bought the video game after I saw the series. So hey, you know, that's how long this shit's been out, you know. And of course, I don't know what the fuck's going on. You know, I'm just a father, you know, so hey.
Actually, I think my favorite part about that TV show is my girlfriend has been playing The Witcher 3, right?
No, it's only one season on Netflix.
Yeah, no, the video. She's been
Oh
playing.
no, I don't even know the Wild Hunt. Is that?
Yeah, I think she's been playing the Wild Hunt. But in the game, because the character, you're essentially like living through the character's mind. The character talks to himself the whole time as essentially a way for you to like be in his head to know what he's thinking. But because he's talking, now whenever we watch the show, I'm always just like doing a voiceover where I'm like, hey, we're walking on a path. Hey, look at that grass over there. That looks like nice grass. Ooh, the sky's blue today. That's pretty cool. Look at that tree. And my girlfriend's like, shut up. I'm like, but they were in the video game. He wouldn't stop talking ever.
Well, I think that's based on the novels. In the novels, Geralt is not the main character, but he's the narrator. So,
I didn't even know there were fucking novels, man. This, the video game is what I thought what it was. I didn't know that the video games are based off of novels.
Polish, right? Right, Mike?
Yeah.
Polish author.
Yeah, hey man, up for the Pollacks. Hey,
Nice. Got to have a bunch of Z's in his name, then.
right, or a name like these guys, where it's like a how do you say you guys' last name? Belchek or Bel?
Bielaczyc.
Belichick.
Wait, I thought it was Balsack.
Ballsack.
It's whatever you want to call me. Just remember the name.
Well, Paul, you don't have the same last name?
I do. I just
Which syllable do you put the
You
emphasis
just
on?
threw me for a loop there. I was like, what the fuck, man? I thought they were brothers, man.
Paul B is his stage name.
look. You've had too much champagne. I'm just keeping you on your toes.
Oh, no. You fucked up.
Which syllable do you emphasize in your last name?
Depends on how drunk I am.
Yeah, when you're sober.
I would say the law. Bielaczyc.
Bielaczyc.
The Bielaczyc.
And that is Polish and what?
So I think we've traced it back to being like the border of Poland and Czechoslovakia.
Oh,
I
so
mean,
you
those borders used to change so much.
didn't know which way to go.
No, I know. No, it's not. Actually, Bielaczyc comes from, it is Polish, but it actually is also German because this is crazy. Like 2 weeks ago, I decided to look into dual citizenship. So I got excited about dual citizenship. My girlfriend, who has an Ancestry.com account, started looking up our ancestry and actually found an ancestor of ours that was living in a small town in Germany. Because at the time of this ancestor, Poland wasn't a thing. There was Russia, there was the German Empire, and there was the Austrian Empire. So at the time, the city that she was living in was in Germany, but the relative in a census said, I speak Polish. So that's why our ancestors considered themselves Polish, because at some point their ancestors came from what was known as Poland. Poland went away. They still consider themselves Polish. And then, unfortunately, they came to the United States in 1910, which is about 8 years before Poland became a country again. So because our ancestors came over in 1910, we can't actually be a Polish citizen. Yes, Suds?
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I figured if I stuck my fucking finger up, at least this one,
Yeah.
you get my attention. You know what freaked me out about that whole story? That you know that fucking much about of your background, man. I mean, the story like from way to hell fuck back when, and you're
No.
Am I the only one abandoned
Girl,
rules?
right over there. She's awesome. She sat there.
I
She
just
pulled
know
up-
that I'm Polish and German as well, but it wasn't like I was sitting on the fucking fence and wouldn't know which way to fucking turn, you know, like you guys were, like right on the border there. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, we looked up. She tried to figure out. We ended up trying to overlay a map from like the 1900s with a current map to see if the city that our ancestors were living in was classified as Germany or Poland. And I think we figured out that where the city they were living in was actually in what is today Germany, but our ancestors definitely considered themselves Polish, because that was the language they spoke and all of that other stuff. So it's really crazy to like, and look, man, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that stuff. Like, I mean, I guess I could have if I like wanted to spend the time, but she already knew what she was doing. She's like, boop, boop, boop. Here's everything about your family. I'm like, what?
Oh, so there's a brain behind the brain, huh?
Well, there's a second bigger brain.
A bigger mind that's more in tune with all this other.
So do we all have German in us? Does Todd have German in him? Todd?
Maybe very tiny amounts. I'm mostly Scottish, English, Irish, French.
Okay.
Welsh.
You're basically a mutt.
I'm pretty much.
We're all mutts.
I think we're all. Well, you know, hey, my wife isn't, man. She's pure Pollak, man.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Which is awesome, man.
I'm German Hungarian. I have no Polish at all, but
I love the Hungarian in you, though, man.
I'm glad you do. I don't even know where it is.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's where all your musical talent comes from, man.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you need to play the Hungarian dance on that fucking mandolin you got, man.
Point over, Todd. What rules are you obeying?
Every time Tony says "fuck," I'm the only one who takes a drink.
All right.
Because you guys could have been. I'm done with my first bottle of champagne, man. So you know,
Tony's not even obeying the rules.
I'm fucking swearing. Well, you knew this was gonna happen, man.
Okay, so what I want to know is I want to know what everybody's drinking, starting from Paul.
So I've had 2 beers tonight. I had this one, which is from a Michigan brewery, Saugatuck Brewery. They make a milk stout called the Neapolitan, which is essentially Neapolitan ice cream. This is the ghost of Neapolitan, so it's a white stout.
And where is that from?
After that, I switched to this, which
that's
is
a good one. Yeah, that's a good one.
But this is actually crazy. It's not regular Dragon's Milk. It's their 2019 reserve, so it's oatmeal cookie.
Cool.
I asked my dad to get some, and he came back with a case of it, and I was like,
"Oh my god!"
So it's 11%. So
yeah, it's strong beer. Yeah, it's strong. Yeah, and
so
expensive.
You're basically drinking foo drinks, man. A Neapolitan. That's kind of foo.
No, it's a stout.
It's 11%. It's a strong beer.
It's a strong beer.
It's not 4.5% like a Molson. It's like.
I'm sorry, I'm not a beer connoisseur, man. I don't drink beer.
I'm not drinking Coors, man.
But hey, if I'm going to drink a beer, it's going to be Coors Light. But and I can take 2 of those down, and I get drunk. I'm telling you, because I don't drink. So tonight, by the end of this night, I'm going to be fucking hammered.
All right, Mike. What about you? What do you got there?
So I found a company that will ship mead to me.
Oh wow!
So it's called Groenfell Meadery, and this is my favorite one, the Old Wayfarer, which is an oaked amber mead.
What does that taste like?
So it's just a honey mead. So it's a honey wine. I mean, you guys play D&D. Everyone drinks mead and D&D, right? So
I've never had mead.
And mead can go really bad or really good for me. Like I can either really not be into it, but all of their stuff I really like. It I think it's more carbonated than most mead, so it tastes sort of like almost like a honey beer.
Does it come in like a 6-pack or something?
It comes in a 4-pack of 16 ounce, so you get 4 pints for $12. And if you order $70, it's free shipping.
What world are we living in where we can get a 4-pack of mead? That's insane. All right, so what are you drinking, Alan?
Well, for me, I was drinking a local. The first one was a local. I'm in the Finger Lakes, so I've got a lot of wineries and breweries and distilleries all around me. So the first one was a beer called Local Mocha Stout. I like stouts with a kick, so I like 7 to 11%, ABV. So the first one was called Local Mocha Stout, which is from Cuca Lake, one of the Finger Lakes, and then this one is, where is it?
Higher. There you go.
Blackrock Stout. And it is from Catskills, New York. So 6.8 ABV on that one. But it's good. It's good. The other one had more of a coffee, really strong coffee, chocolate kind of a taste to it. This one is not so much on the coffee, more of a chocolate. There's coffee in it, but it's more on the chocolate than the coffee. But it's really good. I like stouts and porters, so So that's what I've got going on. What about you, Todd?
I was drinking vodka and vermouth earlier, basically martini on the rocks, but I ran out of vodka, so backup is an Oregon Pinot.
Oh, I know that one. That's a good wine.
It's a really good, and it's not expensive.
That's a Pinot, yeah.
Yeah, it's really tasty.
Mm-hmm. Todd and Suds has got the champagne going.
Yeah, you guys, like, hey, Todd, man, you look like a fucking martini kind of guy. You know what I mean? You do.
What can I say?
Just to show you what I'm drinking, it's Corbel, the dry brut.
Dry, that's cool.
So hey,
Well,
that's what I got going. Same kind of champagne I drank at my wedding. We had so many bottles of this shit. It was like 40 bottles of crack. That's a lot of money. I was buying them. I had to have them, and
that's funny.
yeah. So,
Tony, I got to tell you, Tony, you look good. You got to keep the bandana off your head, though. I can't see your hair with the bandana on there.
Yeah,
why don't you want to see my hair,
It
man?
looks good.
Man, I mean, this thing is like
look at both of you, Alan. You got that sexy gray going on your temples there.
Yeah, a little bit.
yeah, Alan, you got that look going. That's good, man.
I'm in need of. I actually am like way beyond a haircut at this point. I usually have it a little shorter than this, but I know you. Well, you're like a wizard, but
I'm like crazy.
Hey, man, do a mind bend, Todd. Do a little mind bend pose, like.
Like normally my hair is shaggy like Mike's.
He looks like Mark Hamill, man. He looks like Mark Hamill. There's a movie I saw. Mark Hamill. You guys watch What We Do in the Shadows?
Oh yeah.
no, I haven't seen that.
That's my favorite. My wife's favorite show, man. It's fucking hysterical. And
I haven't seen the show. The movie.
Mark Hamill played a wizard, not a wizard.
Whoa! I haven't seen season 2 yet. Don't spoil it, Tony.
I haven't seen it.
I'm not going to, man. He plays a vampire though, and he's fucking hysterical, man.
Okay.
I've also seen him on a Netflix series that was Nightfall, where he plays one of the lead head Knights Templar, and he's. I mean, as soon as I saw him, I knew it was him. But I'm like, holy fuck, did he age, man? No more Luke Skywalker for that bitch. You know what I mean?
You're Luke Skywalker like a year ago.
Well, I don't know how they pulled that off, and when you see him in these movies, man.
I mean,
I don't think they made him look older. I think that's what the fuck he looks like. You check it out, man.
Wow.
he looks like an aged, wizened Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Alan, which
Well, he didn't turn into his father anyway.
What? Wait, what? Todd?
which side of 50 are you on?
I'm going to be 56 in September.
56.
Yeah, he's rolling towards 60. He's rolling downhill to 60.
Yeah.
He's just not on the other side of 50. He's rolling.
Hey, whatever. I hope I look as good as Alan when I'm 56. Shit.
Well, how old are you guys, man? Are you like the pups here? I just turned 60 fucking 3, man.
Yeah.
I'm the oldest fuck here.
I'm right behind you, Tony.
Damn it.
Yeah, but I've still got I got a few
You got a few weeks on me.
links on you anyway.
You got a couple of weeks on me.
Yeah.
I remember one of the first things you said to me when I started at TSR, first time we met. You said, "How old are you, man?" I said, "I'm 39." You said, "Us 39-year-olds got to stick together."
We're close, man. And hey, we stuck together, man. Me, you, and Alan, we were like 3 peas in a pod, man. We hung out and had some good times at TSR. Me and Alan, some of those late nights working till like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, man. Remember the one with John fucking Pickens, man?
Oh, man, what a character.
Well, he was a character. I'm going to tell the story, so, Alan, I hope you don't mind.
Uh-oh.
It's the time we were working late, man.
First of all, before you get started, the thing was like when you there you go. That was like a Twilight Zone there. When you work Whoa, what's that? We're all bigger now.
Yeah, I like that one.
It was messed up because of when we did screen sharing earlier, and so I was trying to figure out how to fix it again.
Oh, gotcha. So
Now
when so Tony and I, we at TSR, you'd get like these schedules. The product group would sit down and they would come up with like your schedule for the entire year. So we would have like, I don't know, everybody was different. Each artist was different. So we like Jeff would get like 24 paintings for the year. He could do like a painting at every 2 days. And, something crazy like that.
He's got the technique to be fast.
Well, the thing with Jeff was that I sat next to him. So Jeff could sit there and screw off for like the entire month or the entire week. And in like a day, he would just sit there and come in the morning and like do this quick little doodle and have the painting like half done in a day. It was insane.
That was the thing about him, watching him paint, because I was, our desks kind of were facing each other. So I had to get up to see what he was up to. And I'd go over to see what he was working on, and it'd be a blank canvas, and he'd be sitting in his chair rocking like this, just studying his canvas. And I'd go off, and I'd come back, and there he would still sit. And I'd go work for an hour or two, and I'd get up, and there he'd still sit. And then I'd go off for 20 minutes, do something, talk to somebody, come back, and the painting's half done.
Yeah.
That happened to me one time. I was saying, hey Jeff, man, I asked him if something was wrong. Hey Jeff, is something wrong? What's up, man? He goes, no, I'm just thinking, rocking in a chair, like that was his move, rocking in a chair. And then I went to fucking lunch. I was gone for like 45 minutes. I came back, his painting was fucking done, and it was like, done. I'm like, what the fuck, man? Rocket shot up your ass? What the hell's going on, man?
Never a wasted stroke in easily painting.
He had, let's face it, he had the technique that lent to be fast, man, and he was good at it, man.
Yeah.
Because
I learned a lot from watching all the guys, really, every one of you that I watch paint. I learned a lot. It was really the greatest.
Best school I ever
situation.
attended.
It really was. It was amazing.
It
It was
was.
kind of like being like in Warner Brothers Studios. You just don't see it, like where you're in a group like that with a bunch of artists where you could learn from each other and hang out. And like we were left alone. We were in a room with a door shut and no one bothered us. It was great.
yeah,
But,
no one bothered us. No one fucked with the artists when I worked.
They really didn't. They
No.
really didn't.
It was just like we were just like these jewels that were locked in the fucking room, and nobody came and fucked with us, man. But if Lorraine Williams came in there, you were like bowing to the god, oh Lorraine, But it was a special time. It was a very special time. At least it was for me, when I met.
No, it was absolutely.
And when I first started there, Larry Elmore told Lorraine Williams that you can't because they were going to first put me out in the hallway, like they had like a computer set up in a small studio there, and they were going to put me in the hallway right outside of the artist's door, in that like section, that computer section there.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's where they were going to put me. And Larry told Lorraine to say, you're hiring this guy to do your new line concept art. You need to put him in the fucking studio, man, with these other guys, so he can learn and breathe off of these guys, and then everybody get together.
Yeah.
He put me in there, man, and I got in there and I took Brahm's spot that was in the corner there. I had his table, unfortunately for me, none of his voodoo rubbed off on me. I wish I could have had some of that shit. But anyway, I he's the one who got me in there. And then when Alan came on, they were saying this young artist is coming on, yada yada, and his name's Alan Pollack. And I said, well, he needs to get in the art room. And there was no space there, but there was a space big enough between me and Jeff. And none of those fucks in the art room helped me, man. And I said,
I gotta say, Tony, when I got in there, I was like, for me, it was like a dream. Like I couldn't believe that I was getting into this position, having this position on staff, at TSR. It was like unbelievable to know that I was going to be in there with all you guys. And you were the one guy. You were really the only guy that when I came in was like I don't want to say took care of me, but you were like
took you under my wing. So
you really did. I mean, you had everything set up for me. You had the whole area like ready for me. Like you were like the one guy that like really like let me come in and like made me feel welcome. So I got to thank you for that, because that's the truth.
Well, I
did that for me too, Tony, and you too, Alan. Actually, both of you, which I appreciate especially because the guy who I'll go nameless, but there was an art director there who a lot of people despised.
I can think of a couple people, but I probably know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and he was sort of directly responsible for me getting the job offer to begin with. I held nothing against him, and I knew nothing of his history with everybody, but there were a number of people who thought, oh, this Lockwood guy is some friend of his that he's brought in to start his own little empire, blah, blah, blah. And
it did, you and Randy, it did seem, because you got it, before you got hired, there was already stuff going on with that dude, and he was already had his, thoughts about getting rid of me and other people, and Fred and Rob, and I don't know who else, found a way to get out of there before they got fired. So I was one of the casualties because of that guy. So I know what you're talking about.
Wait, are you guys talking about Jack Fred? His artwork is so amazing.
We could use Jack Fred. Jack Fred is a good name to use in this instance. Yes, I came across a drawing I did. I was putting together something for the sketchbook to go with the art book, and I saw that I had signed it JF. And I thought, I always hated that painting, and then I saw JF. Oh, fuck. Even I used Jack Fred one.
Hey, can I interrupt for a second? Hey, going back to that story about, Alan coming in, and when Todd came in, is I know exactly what he's talking about. And, I heard this shit, the rumors, the fucking bullshit and all that stuff, because that's what it was. It was, the gossip. You have it at every company. And when I met Todd and I talked to him and stuff, I was like, holy fuck, man. Like he said before, the 39-year-olds got to stick together. I looked at him as he was to me, and fuck this other guy, where all the bullshit was coming from. You know what I mean? I didn't like the fucking guy anyway. To tell you the truth, he was a fucking dick. I won't say no names. I think we all know who we're talking about here. But anyway,
some people there looked at me like I was some kind of invader, and other people just took me at face value. And you two and the guys in the mapping department, Laz and Diesel.
Laz and Diesel, man. Good guys. Great guys, man.
And Dennis Koff. Which is why, late nights, I'd just go down to the mapping room.
Dennis, man.
With whatever they were doing. Here's to Dennis, by the way, and to Dennis's memory.
Hey, guys, excuse me for a second. I'll be right back.
All right.
I don't believe it. So, Todd and Alan, do you guys think that there is anything that currently exists that's like what TSR was when you guys were there?
No, I don't. And I feel really, really fortunate to have been a part of it, because it was kind of an anachronism from the beginning. Gaming companies didn't hire staff of artists.
Yeah.
Companies don't. That's the kind of thing you farm out. That's the Hasbro mentality.
So prior to TSR doing that, it was all contractual stuff, which is, I think, what it is now, right? That's like the current model, right?
Yeah, I'm a freelancer again if I'm working for them. Exactly.
I think they still have groups that they fly out, like when they're coming up with a new world for Magic.
Yeah.
Prescott and all those guys, like they fly out a group of 5.
They're not employees,
right? I mean, they're just there for a week.
There's no room with a bunch of artists sitting around like what we had, right?
Yeah.
Right. Well, because they found out probably how dangerous you guys were. No, I mean, like once Paul and I got in, we started doing stuff for companies in like 2004, 2005, and they didn't like us talking with the other artists. They didn't want our input. They didn't. We were part of some projects where we had ideas where we actually used you guys as examples where we said, hey, like we know everyone that's on this project. What if we all got together and put out a like cohesive like art vision? And like they didn't even want that. They didn't want us connecting in that way, I guess,
That's weird. That's really weird. I mean, we were no threat. We were just doing whatever they told us to do. You know what I mean? It was like, that's just stupid.
Right.
Really.
But you guys still know, I mean, like, for example, some of the stuff that Paul and I ran into was like, I mean, well, you guys are getting paychecks.
Yes.
But we'd be like, oh, well, they're behind on paying us. And then we would talk to other artists. Oh, they're behind on paying you too? Or,
okay.
You guys would talk. And if you keep everybody separate, nobody knows what's happening
Right.
with the contracts or anything like that. So I'm not saying that, I mean, the upper people at Hasbro might do it.
Right.
And I think indie games, all at this point now, it's gone a whole different way where there's just so much stuff coming out that there's no way you can have a centralized area for it. I produce an indie game, an indie role playing game, so I'm like part of a lot of those talks, and I mean, it's hard to keep up with. Like I mean, back in the day, you had like 2 or 3 miniatures companies. Like now, when you're looking to do miniatures for your games, everybody can do miniatures, because not anybody.
3D printing.
There's so many more people sculpting 3D, getting it printed. China wants to do it all so they can steal your designs. And so you can just, it's not centralized. There's just way more of it, but there's not that community, I feel.
Yeah.
Can I share a screen real quick?
It is, but no, it's a thing.
What's going on?
My girlfriend was like, holy shit, that sounds so racist. I'm like, but no, it's literally like we all are worried about just like you go onto AliExpress and you're like, oh, there's all of the shit that I've done for like the past like 12 years of my life just on things.
Well,
and it happened today. Someone sent me a message like, hey, someone stole your artwork and put it on t-shirts. And I had to scroll through 99 shirts. And I guarantee you that over 90% of what I saw on that website was stolen from people. And most of those people I know. And I'm like, how? Like, now I just have to spend my entire afternoon sending messages to be like, hey, this company in Bulgaria stole your stuff. Hey, like, I'm like,
I mean, we're just talking about the largest manufacturer. Like, so and China manufactures a lot of stuff. My friend Holly, she did this amazing drawing of Edgar Allan Poe's, like a house, and every room has a different Edgar Allan Poe piece in it. Well, she had to have it manufactured in China. And guess what's all over Facebook the last month is her exact puzzle being sold by a company in China. It's, Ed Beard. He's always talking about all this stuff getting stolen, but he's doing licensing to people where it's made in China. When I worked in tech, my boss went over there because we dealt with a motherboard manufacturer, and he goes, you know what I learned? The name on the board is it's almost random because you have people from this factory walking out into this factory, and those are 2 different companies, but they're the same company. Like everything is just, like copyright doesn't matter there. And so, if you send it over there, there's a good chance that it's just not going to be yours anymore, especially with 2D art.
Yeah.
And if they don't just steal yours, they'll hire somebody to redraw it and do it where it looks just like it, but it's not exactly it,
You mean like a yin yang wolf?
You're talking about all this stuff, and below you is Todd, and Todd is the rebel when it comes to all this talk about people stealing art. Todd's just like, Todd, you're almost like, I'm done. I've tried so hard to fight this fight. I don't even want to talk about it.
It was hard enough just fighting against Wizards of the Coast, trying to get but I figured while I had any clout at all, I should do it. But China, there's some guy like 15 years ago or so asked me if I would be interested in teaching Chinese artist how to paint Western fantasy art. And I just didn't reply. I never replied. He didn't even get the courtesy of a reply. Why would I want to train the people to steal my work? Are you kidding?
I'm back.
So here's a
screen, Paul.
Say what? Yeah, give me 1 second. I was gonna pop up something talking about. So this was. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
So here is a piece that I did in 2004, which got taken at some point, and some dude decided to stick a copyright of his instant messenger handle on there.
Fuck him.
And there it goes. Oh, I love it. So that's a piece of mine that has been stolen and essentially like propagated all over the internet. When you search for Yin Yang Wolf, my art pops up everywhere, but there's no link to me at all.
Wow.
And the best part is that image and that poem are supposed to be a Cherokee legend, but the earliest reference that they can find of it, actually I found out it's earlier than this. The second reference that they found was a book in 1978 by Billy Graham. And prior to that, it was a book in 1964 by someone else. But it's essentially a thing that talks about how you have good and evil inside of you and which one do you feed. But it was like, they were like, well, we want to make this sound more profound. So we'll just say Native Americans said it. And every instance of it, it's attributed to a different tribe. Right. Or one of them, it's in Billy Graham's book, it's an Inuit tribe in Alaska. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what the hell? And like people come into my booth, and this is my rule of thumb. If someone comes into my booth and they talk about how that piece means so much to them, and they're nice about it, I usually let them continue living their lie. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. But if they come in my booth and they're an asshole about it, I just go, hey, by the way, and then I break them. I'm sorry, but some people deserve to be broken.
Yeah, but if the people are coming and telling you how they're, that's their best piece, that from you, that's their best piece they love, and you say nothing, and then but you want to kill the people that bash it. That's not good, man.
No, it's not that they bash it. It's the people that come in and they talk about how it's the people that you can tell that like the way that they look at that. They're like, well, I know what this is, and this is important, and it's important to my life. I have this up on the wall of my dojo where I teach karate and blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, you're a bad person. Like the things that you like project into the world aren't like happy, like helpful, like positive emotions.
I mean, I guess, Paul, you're focusing on the bad people the most. Paul is very nice to most of the people that buy our art. And I mean, just like if anybody comes up and they tell you something that they believe in that you might not agree with, or you might not know, if the person is nice, it's like, cool, like you're a cool person. Like, we all have these stories and myths and things that we cling on to. But if you come into the booth and you're sort of jerky, and now we do a whole lot of Renaissance festivals too, which means that there's people that have drank yards of beer before they come into our art booth.
It's measured in yards at Ren fairs.
Lots of turkey legs.
Turkey legs. And so like you don't really get that at conventions a lot. You talk to a lot of people that are interested in art. They want to talk about art.
Oh, she's not happy.
No, she's gonna bite you.
She didn't expect to be on camera today.
Love the pussy, Todd.
She's not happy. What happens?
You guys haven't really been at conventions in a long time, and so the convention scene and the Ren Fair scene, which is what Mike is talking about, is definitely a different beast. But
I have a Renaissance festival. I'm in New York State, so there's one like about 30 minutes north of me, but I haven't been to it in about it's been about 5 years maybe now. So. But I've never exhibited or anything, and I've just took my kids there, put them on the camel, put them on the elephant, had a turkey leg kind of thing.
Well, and I can say honestly, I've had people come into the booth and rave about my artwork, and then say really horrible, awful, either racist or bigoted things. And I've just pretty much shut them down. And when they're like, I was about to buy your artwork, but you just like told me off. And I'm like, yeah, I told you off because you just walked in the booth and said a bunch of really shitty things. And I don't care if I get your $20 because I don't care. So if you want to buy my artwork and hang it up in your bigoted racist house, cool. And if you don't, cool. I don't give a shit.
Damn, I thought I was a fucking dick, man. What the fuck, man?
No, you're a dick to racists. I'm allowed to be a dick to racists.
I don't know, man. You know, that's, you know, oh, wow. Hey, you know, we all wouldn't be here if it wasn't for people like that. You know, seriously. You know, not like necessarily what people are fucking with Paul, but
No, you mean the fans.
the fans, yeah. The people who like our art, you know, it brings their RPG to life. And, you know, I've never played any of these games, to tell you the truth. You know, I just illustrated for them. And I have no clue what the fuck.
I hate to say it, but I'm in Tony's camp.
I don't know what to fucking say about it, but as long as I'm making them happy, you know, you guys too, you know, all you guys, when you're doing art, you know, I look at it as you're actually touching these people. You know what I mean? They love your art. They want you to, they send you cards to sign. And it's, you know, hey, you're laughing, Paul, but I'm telling you,
I'm looking at Todd's
I'm
face.
looking at Todd.
You said we touch people, and Todd just gave you a really weird look. That's what I'm laughing at, Tony.
I mean, touching their hearts, man. Or to you guys, hearts, whatever the fuck it is. You know, you're touching their hearts. You know, you're making an impression on them. You know, and some of them you might even inspire to become artists. You know, and to me, I think that, you know, that was my passion in life. You know, it might not be a passion right now. Now it's more just like a money maker for me. You know, I don't have the enthusiasm and ambition that you guys probably have. You know, I'm 63. You know, Todd's still rolling and shit, man. I don't know where the fuck he comes up with his ideas all half the time.
I feel 63 every day.
Yeah, you guys, you're amazing, man. You know the stuff you're doing.
I'm not even 63 yet.
I am. And, you know, you guys have been in Spectrum. You know, Alan, for Christ's sake, had a cover on Spectrum.
I don't know how that happened.
I know, but it happened. And I've never even been in that fucking book. You know what I mean? And then me and Todd were talking the other day about the guys, like, you know, we're like, what do you call us, the B guys or the flip sides or whatever the TSR artists were?
And, you know, the four horsemen were the first, you know, Larry and Keith and Clyde and Jeff.
Yeah.
Four horsemen, you know.
Yeah. And then
we're like the three other horsemen.
Yeah, we were near the end. I mean, because then you had Brom and Fred in there.
And Rupel. And
Right.
Rupel. And Knudsen for Planescape, what they guys were doing for Planescape, which was fucking amazing shit.
Yeah,
we came later than all those guys.
Yeah, I mean, Brom was still in town, which was cool. So I got to hang out with him a little bit before he moved away. But yeah, it was. And Larry had already moved out too. So
Paul, share my other screen.
Yes, sir.
We've kind of wondered back to why this is even pertinent.
Oh yeah, I love that piece.
So
I love the perspective and looking down. You didn't see
Dennis
it.
Kauf right there.
You didn't see that much, man.
What'd you say, Todd?
That's Dennis Kauf.
Oh, in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay.
The wizard.
Okay.
Put a square around. All right. That was me. This one. That's Sam Wood. If you know Sam, but that's Rob Lazzaretti. Can you see him?
Yes.
I can see him.
And that's Fred. Fred.
No way.
Yeah, Fred's bald.
I might have shaved his head. I don't remember if he was actually bald.
He was never bald.
When I first started there, he had his hair in a ponytail, but I don't remember where it went from there.
No, he had short, spiky hair.
Okay, all right. Well, I shaved him for the painting anyway. But
So is Tony the dragon? Is that,
No, I'm not in that fucking painting, man. He never paint me. I was like a really good poser for shit over there, man. But Todd never painted me. No way.
You're probably right. I don't know why not, though.
You know who actually used me in a painting, man? And it's you guys. I can't pull it up like you guys. And you guys are all technologically. I'm like a computer moron. But anyway, the person who actually painted me, and if you saw this comic, it was like one of his first fucking comics, and now the guy's like a comic book god. And I went to school with him at the American Academy of Art. Alex Ross.
Yeah.
I'm in his Terminator series.
Okay.
It's the first
You
one.
a Terminator?
No, I was like some, I don't know, some fuck on the side. But anyway, he put me in I'm on a few pages.
That's cool.
Yeah, man, I wish I would have wrote on his coattails, man. The guy had a vision, and he wanted me to do some stuff for him in the beginning. And I said, I don't want to do comic book art. Fuck that shit, Yeah, well, look at me now, man. I should have done that comic book art, Alex Ross is a great. You guys know him?
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to school with him, and he was like,
is this you?
No. But he gave me that fucking page. Is that what? Zoom in close on that shit.
Oh.
Can you zoom in close on that? Go back. Let me show you something.
If I download it, I might be able to. Give me a second.
If you go back on that and zoom in, I'll show you something that you guys don't fucking understand. Maybe Todd will, but you guys are too. You guys are too young for this shit.
Wait.
Todd would know what I'm talking about.
You're too young for what? For
You're
what?
too young for what I'm about to show you.
Hey, our uncle won an Academy Award for Terminator 2, so you better watch it.
This has nothing to do with the fucking Terminator, my friend. I'll show you, man.
All right, give me a second.
Todd will know what I'm talking about, and Alan would know too.
Wait, not that. Give me a second. Where's it at? That's my desktop. Ignore everything.
I know what the fuck that is. Get to the picture.
I'm working on it.
All right. Okay, zoom in a little bit more. Okay, right here, this guy right here. Can you see where is my mouse moving on it?
Nope.
See the hands here.
The guy that's right, you see flames shooting up? That guy? That's the cover of the Aqualung album.
Oh!
Jethro Tull.
Oh. Oh, no.
Yeah. He gave me that page, and I sold this to some fuck, and I wish I would have hanged on to it, man, because I could have fucking retired by now. This Alex Ross is like a god. But did you guys see that or no? Are you familiar with Jethro Tull?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
No, I know you are, Todd, but these two young, the Paul and the Mike, Alan.
Yes.
Bring that up again, Paul.
What? Wait, give me a second. I'm trying to find you in this comic book. This takes effort.
Oh, you got the comic book up? Oh, that's too fucking funny, man. Alan, we're just talking about Alex Ross and a plate he gave me. It was the actual original art. He used to paint on black stock paper.
What's Todd doing?
I don't know what I'm doing.
Todd don't want to listen to my shit, man.
Is this you? Is this you, Tony?
Nope.
Damn it.
I think you need to go to the third book, the third comic.
Third one. Good Lord.
The third comic.
What are you doing, Paul?
What?
But Todd,
see everything you do on your computer.
Alan.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what we were just talking about while you were gone is that I went to school with Alex Ross. Okay.
Right.
And he, Paul pulled up a picture of a plate, a comic book page, and that was the exact page that Alex Ross gave me.
Okay.
And I wanted him to zoom in on a character, and I want you to think if you can figure out who this is. Philip, can you pull it up again, Paul?
Yeah. One second.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus. So there's a YouTube video, Alex Ross Hidden Art Part 1, and it actually talks about that particular image.
Does it say it? Does it say it's from what I said it was from?
I can't watch it right now because we're in the middle of a video, and if I watch it, then it'll be a bunch of feedback. But
that's fine. But Alan, check out this character that's right by the flames. Who is that? What cover?
Oh, it's Aqualung.
Awesome! I knew you'd get it, man. I knew you'd get it.
Dang!
I told you, man. This fucking guy's a musical genius. Alan Pollack. You got your mandolin ready?
I do.
You know what? I can go get my flute.
Flute?
Yeah, I play the flute. I can play.
Damn. The last instrument I would have thought you would play.
That's what everybody says, man.
He's a Jethro Tull fan.
And don't say skin flute.
No. I wasn't going to.
I play the flute. Boy,
when I was a kid, I had violin lessons because we owned a violin.
You just told me about that.
And I wish now that my parents had made me take the damn lessons.
Yeah, because it's weird because Alan is I'm like a hack at playing the flute, but Alan is really good, man.
Yeah.
This guy knows a lot of shit. He can sing. He can play an acoustic. He can play an electric. He can play a fucking mandolin. Can you play violin?
No, but it's soon the same as a violin.
I remember what I remember most about, not most about you, but something you turned me on to, and we talked about it at TSR. We were, working late at night once again, doing paintings till 2 a.m. And I was telling you, I was asking you, it was the Kiss tune, and it was called "Take Me." And I go, how the hell can that one fucking riff, like do 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 do, that riff be so fucking cool? And then we went to your apartment like the next day, and you played it to me on the fucking guitar, and I was just like, "Fuck!" I just thought that was the coolest thing, man.
I'm really good.
I told you that.
I have a really good ear. I learn most of what I play from just listening to it and figuring it out from hearing it. I can't read music very well, so that's like what I like to do is hear it and watch somebody play and figure it out. I like doing that. So.
Well, that's the thing, I can't figure out things by ear on the flute, but if I have the sheet music, I can sheet music, but it takes me a really long time to figure it out, man, because some of this stuff is just insane,
Yeah, sheet music is crazy. I don't know how people do that, especially people that can like classical music where they have it in front of them and they're like playing it as they're reading it, like right in time. Like I don't know how they do that.
What's even crazier is the people who actually can fucking write sheet music, man.
Well, yeah.
You're just writing it on the fucking staff in there and on the notes and the half notes and the quarter notes and the 16th notes and all that shit.
Yeah.
People who, like Mozart, just wrote that shit out, while it was fucking getting hammered, Man, fucking music is great, man. I'm sure music has had a touch on all our lives, man, because we all listen to music while we work.
It's funny you say that because I know I'm not going to point out any names, but I know a lot of guys that are artists that they're not into music. Their music's not even a part of their life, and I don't get it. I don't understand how you do that. But
Weird
Al is a music artist, Cassie.
People who don't listen to music are just fucked up.
My girlfriend just gave me the evil eye. She's like, I'm like, sometimes.
What, Paul? You don't like music? You're not a music fan?
No, I'm into music, but like, I really like Weird Al, so everyone always picks on me because I'm music. I'm like, other thing too, goddammit.
Wait 1 minute. Wait 1 minute.
Wait, what?
Paul, Paul and Mike are sitting here, and I'm noticing one thing. And I don't know if you guys, hey, I just met these guys. I've noticed one thing, that Paul does all the fucking talking. Mike,
Yeah,
guy.
I mean, our business card looks like a yin yang. Paul's the loud one. He liked Weird Al, and I was big into music. Like growing up, every concert, and I wasn't good at it, so the only thing I could do was draw all their album covers. Like all my friends were musicians, so I'm like, I'll draw your album cover. And so I think like Paul got like just like he got all the like number smarts, like he can figure out money, and I'm like, what the fuck's money? I don't care. So we're very divided. That's why, I mean, it works well. Like I'm the risk taker. I like jump out, spend money on trying to do everything. Like, hey, we're going to go be artists and sell elf ears. And Paul's like, okay, I'm going to get this really expensive degree. So if this doesn't work out, I got a job. But I couldn't do it because I'm the quiet guy and I just let him do
You're bad at numbers.
Are you guys twins? No.
No.
You look really similar.
3
You
years.
look alike. You look alike.
Is it 3 or is it 2 and part of a third?
It's 3. No, he's November 3rd and I'm November 26th, 76, 79. So
Our parents always got bored in the same time.
Sagittarius and Capricorn. How interesting is that?
no, it's Sagittarius and Scorpio.
Wait.
My daughter was born.
Okay. Gotcha. You're right.
You guys were born in November.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter was born in November too, as well. So, November must be a creative fucking month, man.
Whatever.
Well, they weren't created in November. They were created 9 months earlier.
Yeah, that was a very good observation.
We were created 8 months earlier.
Now, Mike and Paul, you guys would never bring this up, so I have to bring this up
I'll
because
be back, guys. All right.
completely
Whoa.
clear. Tell Alan. Oh, now Suds is walking away. All right. Well, when Suds gets back, I'll bring it up again. Never mind.
So do we play elevator music until then? Oh, wait. Actually, while Suds is gone, I think I found the picture of him in the comic book. Is that him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Don't know. Zoom in.
I don't know.
It could be. It could be. His hair used to be spiky like that.
It's still kind of spiky like that.
We had a
Yes.
mohawk for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's actually what I got right now. I got the COVID haircut. My girlfriend shaved up to there and then up to there.
So, Paul, I believe I have the COVID haircut. Me and Todd do, which is just
That's true. That's the
my hair
lack
hasn't been this long
You're
since I was
right.
17.
Here he is.
So it's really funny when Cassie shaved my head like this, I was like, oh shit, I feel like I just copied my brother's haircut. I think I need to try to avoid Mike for as long as I can, because if he sees me, he's just going to be like, damn it, my little brother copied me. The day after I got this haircut, I was walking around the neighborhood, and we live about like a half mile away from each other, and I literally turned a corner and bumped into Mike and Mike's wife walking around the neighborhood. And Mike looked at me and I looked at him and Mike goes, shit, we've switched haircuts.
Well, that's okay. I know you'll never have as good a beard as I have, so.
There you go. You got that going.
It's very
All right.
patchy.
Well, I was starting to say, before Suds got up and walked out of the room, that you guys would never bring this up because it's not like you to be this way, but I think it's completely cool. Tell Alan and Tony who your aunt is.
Who your what?
Tell them about your aunt.
Oh,
Who's
Paul?
that?
Mike, Paul,
Mike did.
one of you.
Todd is always excited. Our aunt wrote Star Trek, some of the original series stuff. DC Fontana, and then our blood uncle, my uncle Denny, was the one who married DC Fontana, and him and my other uncle are Oscar-winning effects artists in LA. They did like Terminator 2 and The Abyss, and a bunch of like James Cameron stuff.
Wow, that's awesome.
But we never moved out to LA to work. And I mean, they were doing miniatures, so I guess I'm glad we didn't, because we'd be out of a job right now, maybe. Yeah, sort of like being an oil painter, right? Nobody wants that anymore.
But it's kind of the street cred that you have, just historically, genetically, whatever. I mean, you're creators and inventors and storytellers, and that's where your uncle was, and the woman she married, and I think it's totally cool.
It's a funny story. There's a guy in LA who Bob Burns. He used to be in like really old movies. He's always the guy in the ape suit, like the original Ghostbusters in like the 50s. He was the guy in the ape suit, but so he collects all these memorabilia from different movies, and he has so much that they won't insure his house because he has so many movie props that it's just uninsurable. It's worth too much. But he does this thing in Halloween where he builds a big haunted house. He always does these big themes. And so my uncles would go out and help him do it. And so my Uncle Denny was helping a woman build stuff they were doing Alien. And everybody thought that DC Fontana was a man because back in the 60s, you know, women didn't write science fiction. So my Uncle Denny was a big fan of DC Fontana, but he didn't know the woman Dorothy that he was working with was DC Fontana. And I bet you, knowing her, she was sneaky. She probably like brought it up to see what he thought. And he's probably like, oh yeah, I really like his work and stuff. And then my other uncle, Robert, found out and was like, oh wait, Denny's over there talking with the hot redhead, and that's DC Fontana. And they ended up getting married, but their first job was working on an alien haunted house together for the kids, you know, and I just thought that'd be so neat, you know.
That's very.
I mean, Todd, I'm glad that you weren't a woman and I didn't end up marrying you, but
Me too.
I mean, that's the only thing I can compare to, you know, like being a big fan of an artist and then you meet them and you're like, oh, this is not the person I was expecting.
Oh, so you're saying you were disappointed?
No, Todd, you've never disappointed me.
That same Memphis convention, Mid-South Con, I met Dragon Dronet, who I'm still in contact with all the time. Such a great guy. He's from the Pacific Northwest. And if you don't know him, he's just this big teddy bear of a guy who makes props. He did, for Hollywood, he did the props for, the
Predator?
Black. What was it?
He did stuff for Predator, right?
Yeah, he did a lot of Predator stuff, and what was the sequel to Pitch Black? The Vin Diesel sci-fi.
Chronicles of Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick.
Chronicles of Riddick. Yeah, he did a lot of.
That's a cool movie.
The costume was Dragon Dronet. Just an absolute sweetheart of a guy. And then the other guest artist, Kevin Lanog, I still see on Facebook every day. It's kind of crazy. And then you two guys, of course. I've known you since then. One of those weird kind of nexus points.
We had a cafe clatch on Sunday morning with you. That was like I feel like we talked a little bit while we were all drinking in the con suite, but we were also a little like, I remember when you were drinking in the con suite, we were also like, this is Todd Lockwood. Like, we just can't walk up and talk to him. Let's get our beer and go. And then we were like, there's a sign-up sheet to have breakfast with him. He can't leave if we sign up for breakfast with him.
I remember you guys in the bar that night. That was the only convention that they ever asked me what beer would I want in a cooler behind the bar just for me. I said, Amberbach. I was a fan of Amberbach at the time. So they had a cooler of Amberbach, and that's what I drank all night.
Wait a minute. Did I just hear that Todd Lockwood had a sign-up sheet to have breakfast with him?
There's a thing at some conventions. At some conventions, there's a thing called a Kaffeeklatsch.
Yes.
With a K, and it's like you have breakfast with this person over coffee.
Yeah, so it's usually every guest of honor. So the artist guest of honor, the author guest of honor, the Toastmaster, every guest of honor has a sign-up sheet for a Kaffeeklatsch, and it's people who want to just have a small, private, breakfast
audience interaction. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, man. I was never a guest of honor fucking anywhere, so but let alone a convention. So
wonder why.
So Todd,
yeah, is that supposed to be funny, Todd? You wonder why?
3 or 4 years ago, Todd, when Mike and I were the artist guests of honor at Mid-South Con, they sent an email out and asked, what would you like to have as in the con suite? And Mike wrote back and was like, I'm good with whatever you've got. I'm fine. And I sent a message and I was just like, I really like Faygo Rock and Rye as a pop, and I really love Scotch. And I showed up and they had a bottle of scotch that had my name on it, and they said no one else is allowed to drink that bottle of scotch all weekend except for you.
Hey, I got a question for you guys, Mike and Paul. Speaking of having a name on a bottle for something, did you guys come up with some kind of I don't know, I want to say worm-like kind of things that you put into a beer and they expanded? Did you guys create that?
I know what you're talking about. I was pretty sure we weren't going to go here.
Are you talking about?
Oh, am I shocking everybody? I think we can talk about this pretty quick, like in PG. You know what I mean?
Wait,
The annual gift from Paul Bielaczyc.
All you have to say is, yeah, we do, and yeah, we put their names on the bottle, and yeah, that all happened, and me and Todd will say, okay.
Wait, Tony, I will just say this. My brother Michael had nothing to do with this. This is all this asshole. So.
Well, then I can understand where it's coming from. Then, okay, cool. That's cool.
I don't know.
Enough said.
Oh, wait, I know where it came from. It came from you drawing on Ross's play mat. That's where the.
Oh no! Hey, Todd,
it wasn't me.
It's Paul's fault. He's taking it a step further, man.
Do you see this? See, now Paul is a pretty good designer. He made up this label.
That is cool. That is very cool.
Lockwood since 2019. Triple Dick Liqueur. Right. Yeah.
Oh, man. That's okay.
It's off. We're now off YouTube. We
are.
Ban us. Those are tequila worms. Really big tequila worms.
Yeah.
Okay, we still got 20 minutes, so we're not off YouTube yet.
Oh, no. But if their algorithm figures out what's in there,
we might have to edit that out.
Okay, that's cool, man. I wanted to see if you guys would lay claim to the whole thing.
See,
my favorite.
Here's what happens. Let me break down Dragon Con.
No, don't. Now we're going there. Todd said I thought we were going to go here.
Oh, well, I don't care about the bottle, but see, Todd and Paul get to be in the art show, like where. I found out last year because I was actually in the art show for a little bit. Because normally I just hang up my work, or actually in the past, Paul hung up my work and I wouldn't even go in the art show for different weird reasons. One reason. But so anyway, I was in there for a little bit.
Weird one reason.
Yeah. Last year, people deliver beer to Paul in the art show. They come in their backpack, go, oh, here's your beer for the day. While I'm down in the dealer's hall, like putting on hundreds and hundreds of elf ears per hour with like employees busting my ass, and they're drawing penises and making inflatable dicks to each other. Like
that's great.
That's what's going on in the art show. Like that's what they're doing.
When can you actually drink in the art show? Alan, we could never fucking drink in the art show, man.
Not in the art show. Not unless it was like some sort of what do they call it? The reception or something at night.
No, you're doing it wrong. You take the beer, you pour it into a container you pour it into a container that no one can tell what is in the container, and then you just drink beer and scotch all day.
Well, these days, though, the conventions there's a bar in every area of a convention. So, like, you guys have Pensacon. They had bars set up in the dealer's hall.
I was too scared to do that shit, man. I didn't want to get caught drinking beer. I knew we were going to
a trash can with ice and beers one year in the art show at Dragon Con.
I knew we were going to the safe house afterwards. So,
Oh man, the worst I ever got was at the safe house.
So what Todd hasn't mentioned is that his Lockwood triple sec is actually the third bottle of penis liquor that he has.
I don't know where the other two are. They're somewhere.
First year I made it, I put it in
play for some reason.
I made a label that was all fancy, and I put it in a box. And I have never wrapped anything in my life as beautiful as the present that I wrapped for Todd. And I left it. I waited till he left the art show one night, put it on his desk, and then went home. And the next morning I got there and I was like, it's gone. Obviously he's seen it. So I walked up to him later in the day. I was like, hey, how was your present? And he goes, what present? I was like, the one that I left for you. And he's like, that was you? Oh, you motherfucker. He goes, I was so scared. I didn't even open it. I have no idea what it is. And then he starts opening it, and there's a whole bunch of people gathered around to get signatures on magic cards. And he opens it up, and he's like, oh, fuck.
You know, I had a question for you, Paul. What is exactly in a penis liqueur?
So you go
I
on.
don't know. I really don't want to know.
So those little things you buy-
I know you're a connoisseur of beers, but you know, penis
What
liqueur.
else are you a connoisseur of? Paul?
Do you remember as a kid those little things like the grow your own dinosaurs that you'd buy? You drop them in water and they expand.
I remember
Exactly.
sea monkeys.
So you buy one of those, but it's not a dinosaur. And then you drop it in a bottle of liquor, but you can't use liquor because it doesn't make the things grow. Who knew that liquor doesn't make them grow? You have to dump out the liquor and fill it with water, and then they grow. And then
That's funny, man. You know, you guys like, you know, did you ever get into that aspect of the business, or did you just stay with the elf ears?
No. Just elf ears.
There were people that got in touch with us about stuff, but actually, the first year we're on the road, I hand painted a sign that said Aerodani Studios Fantasy Prosthetics, and everyone come in, they're like, "What does that mean?" I was like, "Got to repaint that sign."
Well, that's funny, especially you guys could have made a ton of money, especially with this stay-at-home virus shit going on, man.
Yeah,
you could have killed it.
Actually,
other people can have that money. It's good.
Someone at one point sent us a link. They're like, "Hey, I don't know if you've ever seen this internet thing, but they're using your ears in it." We were like,
Yeah, our ears have been in a lot of stuff.
whole lot of stuff.
Are you? But are you listening? Your ears are there. Ha ha ha. Yeah, Todd got it.
We get a +2 to listen check. So yes,
Roll those dice again.
Todd got that joke.
So I have an art related question.
Sorta.
Sort of. So how Todd, how is your book coming along? Are you on your the second part?
Yeah, I'm about 135,000 words into book 2. It's just creeping along because I've got this art book.
There you go. Look at that.
Cool, Tony. It's cool that you have that there. Appreciate that.
I still owe you notes. I've read like 50 to 100 pages of your book. I need to send you notes.
If you want, or just hang on to your notes and keep reading. I'm not in a hurry because I can't even get done with all the work that I have to do. I still haven't got my art book to the printers quite yet because I keep finding little things that the designer missed. Like this hairline is RGB instead of CMYK. You need to fix that kind of thing. It's just kind of crazy making. And then the virus has slowed the whole world down. And so
I got that one.
So
yeah, we're waiting for the second one.
Son, stop.
No, me too. And we're getting there. I think the final PDF or print-ready file is done. I'm 99.999% certain. But I've been 99.999% certain for months. So there just keeps being some other thing that comes up. So
Hey, Todd, I'm the numbers guy. If it's been 99.9 for months, then it's not a 99.9. I'm just letting you know.
yeah, I know. It's somebody once proved to me that
Sorry.
repeating was actually one. So.
I got this bad boy right here. Alan
So-
Pollack's first published piece, White Wolf.
Wow, that's cool. I don't remember that one.
There's kind of a glare on it, but hey, it's cool. It's very cool. I still have it. And hey, you still got mine?
Of course, somewhere.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure somewhere in the closet, fucking collecting dark.
That was good, Alan. You turned around like it might be just behind you.
I got so much crap.
Is it there just behind you? No,
Hey,
actually, it's not.
Hey, Todd, remember we were talking about worst paintings we've ever done?
Oh God!
Remember
Yeah.
that?
Yes, I do.
Show you guys something I did when I was in school or just after school, and it is fucking hideous. But I'm going to show it to you. It's on the canvas, so you might not get a good look at it. But can you see this?
Yeah, I'm sorry, but
No?
you can. Yeah, that's. Well, you know, we all started.
It's Ezekiel before Christ, and look at the angels, though, man. They look like they're. I used ornaments for reference, but I didn't. I just made them up, but they're like floating down, looking all stupid and shit. Look at that.
Yeah, what's going on with her legs? To the left.
Man, I just started this shit playing around. Look at I mean, I'm showing you shit stuff, man. Don't be fucking criticizing it, man.
No. I'm asking what happened.
Wouldn't you rather?
Jesus has got a jaw, though. He looks like he could take a punch.
Yeah, I could show you worse
Not
stuff.
that I'd want to punch Jesus. But
I'm impressed that you had that to hand to show off.
Hey, Tone. Hey, Tony.
That's really brave. I appreciate that.
And hey, one more thing. This is my first published piece ever. It's a
Cool.
black and white, and it was done for Shadowrun.
That's cool. So, how well do you know Jeff Levenstein?
I know Jeff Levenstein since 1992.
Wow.
And what's funny about that is I was working at an art supply store. I don't know if you other guys ever took that job on, because I took it on because I got a discount on art supplies. But anyway, I worked at an art supply store, Herman's, and I was doing a couple of freelance pieces, and that was one of my first published pieces for Shadowrun. And they called me and asked me if I wanted to come work for them for full time. And I said, hey, yeah, man, that'd be great. And I went from making like maybe $12,000, $13,000 a year at Herman's, an art supply store, to $18,000 for FASA. And at that time, we were talking like 1991, 1990 in there somewhere. And when I first started with them, I had a full art gig in the studio with people. You guys know how that feels and makes you feel. And I was working with Lovenstein and Joel Bisk. And
Did you have a bullpen there like we did at TSR?
Yeah, they had a bullpen. We were all sat in a room. It wasn't set up really like TSR. It was kind of cool because it was like you were in a brick house. It was like it was on Cermak Road in Chicago.
It's a brick.
Yeah, it was. And
I like that song.
I worked with those guys. The person who hired me was Dana Knutson. You guys know.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he hired me to come there and do freelance work. When I got there, he worked for like a week, and then he quit and went to TSR. He went to TSR. I worked for FASA until 1994. And in 1994, I met Lorraine Williams and Tom Lavely at a Gen Con, and Dana tipped them off to me to come in and do this Birthright gig. And Brom had just quit. So I would be taking his spot in the art. Well, that's where I was supposed to go, but Larry Elmore got me there. But anyway, Dana was responsible for getting me to work at FASA and responsible for getting me to work at TSR. So Dana, kudos to you, man. He hooked me up in both places, and he was a good friend of mine when I first started there. He took me in, and I actually stayed a couple days at this house in Delavan. He was pretty crazy back then, and I'm sure he's still crazy, but I haven't talked to him in a long time. But back
David
then,
Newton had a DeLorean.
yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what's crazy. He had a
That's the thing you
DeLorean.
need to know about Dana Knudsen. He had a DeLorean.
He had a couple really great Halloween parties, too.
What's that, Alan?
He had some really great Halloween parties, too.
Oh, yeah?
Diesel had some good ones too, man. Diesel had some great ones.
Damn.
Yeah.
So, okay, Todd, continue.
Continue what?
You said he had a DeLorean, and I thought you were going somewhere.
No. That's just, well, he traded it for a pickup truck. But
Yeah, I know. He had, this guy had his cabin in Delavan. He also had a cabin somewhere else, and and he said he had a DeLorean. And you're like, are you fucking kidding me?
You know what else he
How
has?
the hell do you have a DeLorean, man? You know?
You know what else he has? He has one of the. It's about this long.
You're on a break.
Okay.
It's at least 20
It's the
feet.
novelist from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, one of the actual props from the
No
movie.
way, really? I never saw
Yeah,
that.
there were multiple. Some were bigger than others, but he's got one that's about 4 feet long.
You know what else he actually has? He has a hand from the original Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, a glove that would fit over either Ben Chapman's hands or the Rico Browning, who did the underwater scenes in that movie. So yeah, he has that too. It's pretty wild, man. He's got some good collectibles.
I mean, it's crazy. Before eBay, studios didn't know what those things were worth. You know,
Right.
they just throw it all out.
Exactly.
When my uncles worked on Aliens, they literally just had a burn pile, and they just burned so much of the stuff, you know, in England. And
Back then, they just threw this shit out, man. You know,
Yeah.
it could have been buku bucks for people if they just held on to this shit, man.
yeah, when I went out to LA in the 90s, I went to Bob Burns' house, and he had the original like derelict ship from the movie Alien, like the one that's sticking up out of the.
Cool.
Yeah,
But it was so big, it was just in his driveway. You know, like, can you imagine having that thing and it's just in your driveway? Of course, you're in LA, so it's not going to rain on it much. But
Right.
it's still just, it got wrecked because what are you going to do with a 10-foot model? But still, like, yeah, it's crazy to think now, you know, that being a collector's home. I mean, he was a collector, but, you know, back then it was.
Yeah, I mean, a collector would have it in their like living room or something.
Yeah.
It'd have
Yeah,
some-
back then the studio saw it was all trash.
But also,
They're a museum.
when you went out there in the 90s, like you got to wear like the alien head. There's a photo of you wearing the head from the movie.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I did. They were trying to make a model of the Sulaku, which is the big ship from the second movie from Aliens, the one that sort of like just looks like a block or whatever. And so they needed photo reference of the original model. So my uncle Denny was taking pictures while we're over there, and I held the ruler. So they had this like, you know, 13-year-old kid with swooshed over hair and a hot pink shirt. And so Bob Burns is like, you know, it'd be funny as if, and this is in the 90s, so it's film camera, but he's like, it'd be funny if you wore the alien head while you're doing this. They put the alien head on me, and I'm holding a ruler for the reference shots to make a model out of it.
By the time I got out there to visit Bob Burns, they were like, "Don't touch anything. You can't touch anything." I'm like, "Okay."
He has so much stuff that when Paul and I went out there later on when we were older, I bumped into a table and something started moving around and I caught it, and it was the metal skeleton from the original King Kong. Like I bumped,
Whoa.
and you can drink of this one, Suds. I bumped a fucking table that had the King Kong armature. Like if that would have hit the ground, that's like $1 million just being destroyed. You know,
You're talking to
my
Harry.
stupid ass is bumping into the table.
You're talking to Harryhausen shit.
Yeah,
It was,
Well,
did
that's
Harryhausen do the
Harryhausen.
original
Yeah,
Kong?
he was great, man. Harry.
Willis O'Brien did King Kong.
really?
King Kong.
I thought it was Harryhausen. No,
It was Harry.
No, Harryhausen was a protege of Willis O'Brien. Willis
Okay.
O'Brien did the first King Kong. Trust me, I was a King Kong freak. I had the Making of King Kong book. I watched the movie 8 million times.
oh, me too, but I didn't know that. So
I didn't know that either. You sure that ain't the martinis talking?
Todd,
Wait, what?
what was the name you said?
Willis O'Brien.
that sounds like your neighbor.
That is, according to Wikipedia's, in 1933, Willis O'Brien was the one that did King Kong.
Yes.
Nerd.
Well, I didn't doubt you, Todd.
I know this to be true.
No.
Wikipedia is correct.
I don't know. I remember seeing like videos of like Ray Harryhausen with the armature, so that's why it's
Well, Harryhausen was a protege of Willis O'Brien. They worked together on like Mighty Joe Young and Son of Kong or whatever, and then Harryhausen went on and he invented a lot of the.
Well, So
So they
screen projection stuff that became kind of the best special effects.
were Harryhausen's proteges.
What?
They were Harryhausen proteges. Like they worked under him.
Harryhausen worked under Willis O'Brien.
Oh, okay. I get you.
Yeah.
Well, that's
O'Brien
like our
figured that shit out, and Harryhausen perfected it.
uncle's stories of when our uncles used to work for Roger Corman. At one point, essentially, my uncles, I think, helped Roger Corman hire a young guy named Jim Cameron. And at some point, Jim Cameron was like, "I'm leaving," and like left. And they were all like, "Who the hell does this guy think he is?"
Oh, Jim Cameron.
Yeah. It's crazy to like hear the stories about like people that like got hired on, and they're like, I need my foot in the door, and like I need to like just like become a part of this industry. And they had such talent that after they got in the door, they're like I'm moving on. It's crazy stuff.
The thing about Cameron, man, he knew exactly where he was going, man. He said, "I'm out." He moved in a different direction and just blew everybody away. You know.
Yeah, good stuff. Although,
All right, does any of you guys read books other than Todd, who's writing and reading?
I wish I had time to read.
I can read.
What are you talking about?
What?
What book are you gonna? Where are you going with this?
Well, I only mention it because I was, before I met my wife.
Your wife. Got it.
My wife. Well, because I was married before, I guess that's why I'm saying that. So it's my.
I got you, Alan.
What's your current wife's name?
Kim.
Kim.
Yes.
I have not met Kim.
Nobody's met Kim because I haven't been to any conventions in a while.
You might be making her up.
I've been.
Well, Tony knows who she is because Tony's seen us play.
Yeah, I saw her. I saw them play, man. It was fucking incredible, man. It's
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah, she's got a great voice. She's amazing.
Yeah, she does.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Cool.
So, what was I saying?
I love it.
You're talking about the book.
Something about a book.
Oh, yeah.
If we read books.
So I obviously, as Todd, I read a lot for work, and a lot of the stuff that I have to read is, I hate to say, not the greatest in the world.
Yeah, that's what I read is the stuff I have to
It's not
read.
like I'm not illustrating Arthur C. Clarke, unfortunately, but and Robert A. Heinlein's probably my favorite science fiction illustrator, or author rather. So, and I have yet to do any of his covers. But before I met my wife, I was not reading a whole lot outside of work, and so she's a big reader. So I was watching a lot of movies, like diehard movie watcher. And so since meeting her and being married to her, I got into reading, which I haven't really been into reading since I was probably a teenager. And so the first thing that I decided to do, because I remember it from when it first came out, was I was like, I'm going to read The Gunslinger, Stephen King, because of Michael Whelan being on the cover, because Michael Whelan's the king of all time. He's my favorite illustrator of all time.
I actually met up Michael Whelan, man. Did you?
Wow, me too.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he signed a book for me in 1989. It was
what a perfect segue. Paul, can you share my screen?
Wait, Alan's in the middle of a story.
I'm sorry. Finish your story.
How dare you?
I'm sorry. But God,
anyway.
of different arcs are intersecting here. Yes. Finish your story, please.
Wait for it.
Anyway, so I remember seeing The Gunslinger when it first came out and seeing Michael Whelan on the cover and being like, oh my God, it's Michael Whelan, because it's like he's like the god of illustration in my books. He's like that. I mean, I grew up studying Boris Vallejo. That's who got me painting the way that I paint, was Boris Vallejo. I got his book, I read his techniques book, I tried to figure out how to paint with oils because of Boris Vallejo. And Hildebrand, Greg Hildebrand, Tim Hildebrand. Those are like the three guys.
Yeah.
For me, anyway. And they painted in acrylic, but it was still the overall effect of what their color and their lighting and their camera angles and their Disney, you know, things in the foreground, middle ground, background, like Hildebrands were like, for me, that was like the big thing. But anyway, Michael Whalen, when he came along, and especially he had his beginning phase, and then he kind of like had his middle phase, and now he's doing his own thing, which just blows my mind. Anyway, I could go on and on about Michael Whalen, but he's my favorite guy. He's my favorite guy.
I wanted to be Michael Whalen.
But anyway, so when I finally got around to reading books, that was like the first thing I wanted to read was The Gunslinger, because I never read any Stephen King up until that point. And so, you know, The Gunslinger, because of Michael Whalen being on the cover, I'm like, that's what I'm going to read first. And I read it, and it blew my mind. Oh my God. The Gunslinger and the Dark Tower series is the best thing that's ever been written in the series, in the history of mankind, as far as I'm concerned. And then there's Lord of the Rings. That's how I feel about it. And it's amazing. It blew my mind. So all the way to the end, the way he narrates, the way he talks to the viewer, the way it's crazy. If you've never read any of that series, it's unbelievable. It's the best thing he's ever done. So anyway, I'm just saying,
one of my writing gurus, like,
I know.
I read Stephen King because I loved the way he wrote.
Yeah, absolutely. So since then, that's what I've been doing. I've been reading a lot, and what I do is I read a Stephen King book, and then I read somebody else, then I go back and read a Stephen King, and then I go back and then I read a Stephen King book. So I've got all of them, and I'm going to read all of them.
I did burn out eventually.
Hey,
I haven't gotten to that point yet, but
I got tired of the possessed whatever.
He's way beyond all that. Like
I know he's so much better than that. Yeah,
he's amazing.
Alan,
Yes.
you read a lot of Stephen King? Yeah.
What?
You read a lot of Stephen King?
Yes.
Have you read The Colorado Kid?
I have not read that one.
Okay. I was telling Todd about this, that there's a series based off that book, The Colorado Kid, called Haven, and it was on Sci-Fi.
Oh yeah. I didn't know it was based on that.
Yeah, it was based on The Colorado Kid. So
okay.
Called what?
Haven.
Oh, Haven. Okay.
Yeah, it's based off the Colorado Kid book from, and it's a great series, man. It's over now. It ran from 2010 to 2015. It's gone now, but it's a great series. It's something I've been watching a lot since when I paint, I watch movies and shit or whatever. But Haven is what I watch a lot. I've watched that series I watched it over doing paintings like maybe 20 fucking times, man. I watched it over from the first season to the 5th season, and it's really good, man. You know, but you have to watch it a few times over to really get the consciousness behind it. But once you do, man, it's like fuck. It's really good. It's really good.
Cool. Well, I've never been one to read. I've never before. Let's see, what was the first one that I did that with? I guess it was It from Stephen King, the newest movie that was created, where I read the book first and then saw the movie. Like that, I've never done that because I didn't read a lot. So like It was the first time where I actually, well, The Hobbit. I guess I read The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings before the movie came out. So I guess that's probably the first time. But It was the first that I like where I was like, I knew the movie was going to come out. I wanted to read the book first and then see the movie.
Yeah.
And it was, I got to say, the movie was a really good representation of the book. I was really impressed. And it had a lot of, like, when you read a book like it's so thick. I mean, it's like War and Peace. It's huge.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it felt like it needed to be that thick because it just takes you in depth to each character, their history, their past, their present, everything.
I know.
And it adds all to the whole overall effect of the book. And when you see the movie, it's not quite that, but they did a really good job with it. And they really captured a lot of little subtleties of the things that you would only know if you read the book. And so I've been trying to read some of his books, like The New Pet Cemetery I read before the new movie, and it was okay. Dr. Sleep, I read the book first before I saw the movie, and that was actually better than the book, I thought. But anyway, I'm going on this whole Stephen King thing. But anyway, the point is that the book reading is actually, a lot of people have like gotten past, they don't read as much as maybe they used to. I don't know. It seems that way. But anyway, reading is an amazing thing. It's like I was so big into movies for the longest time, and I'm now finding how cool reading is, and how in a lot of ways it's better than the movie, because it's so deep. Like you get to really envision everything way more than what they can show you in a movie. And so anyway, with that said, one of the most recent books I just read was by this guy named Blake Crouch, and his book is called Recursion, and it'll blow your mind if you get to read that book. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's about in short, and I'm not going to give you the whole story, but anyway, this person creates this device in the form of like a chair where you can get in it, and it's supposed to, she created it to where you can remember memories that, like, for people that her mom has Alzheimer's, so she created it specifically so that her mom could remember things from the past. But what it ends up doing is it ends up turning reality upside down, where it's like the world, time is no longer like what we know as time. It's like it flips on itself, and crazy things happen, and it'll blow your mind. It was amazing, and the ending is great, and the book was great. And he did another one called Dark Matter, which was a really good book. But Recursion is one of the best books I've read in a long time. So if you get a chance, Recursion by Blake Crouch.
Hey, yeah. Alan, you sound like a really cool librarian.
Paul, share your screen.
All right, I'll share your screen.
Love that pic.
That's cool. What's that for?
What that is a new cover for a limited edition of Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
I read all three of that, the whole trilogy. That was a trilogy, right?
Oh, it went way beyond trilogy. Yeah.
But there was like 3 paperbacks. I have them. I read them, all 3 of them. There was
the White Dragon was the one that
right
introduced me finally to Michael Whelan, who I had been seeing for.
Yeah, the White Dragon was a great painting.
Yeah, that painting was the painting that it seared my brain in the direction of a Whelan-esque career. Yeah. So anyway, it's
hey, Todd.
To Michael.
That's cool. So this is a new book that's coming out that you did?
Yeah.
That's great, Todd.
Hey, Todd, I got a question for you. Is that whole series in that world, and is everything tilted like that? Because I know the illustrations that Whelan did, that all those peaks from the mountains and shit all tilt, or they go this way, or they go that way. Is that part of the world?
Well, I do that all the time anyway. I love that.
Yeah, I've done it too, but I'm just wondering if that's because Whelan did the same thing. So I'm wondering if that's just the way the world is. Everything's you want to see the world that way, or everything's like flying off this way or flying off that way. You know what I mean?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Because you got everything tilted that way with these, buildings on the mountains, peaks and stuff. But the dragons look like it's ready to take flight that way as well. So everything's just going bam,
Here's
this one here, the one down here in the corner with the archway of the rocks there. It's the same kind of feel. You know what I'm saying?
Well, this down in the lower right corner is Tony Dieter-Lisi.
Yeah, but that's right off of. I got the Whelan's first book, and that picture's right in that book.
Okay.
That same exact fucking picture. So if Diesel did that, he ripped them off. We should slap him for that.
The one top center was Whelan's Dragonflight cover.
No, there's a Whelan piece just like that one with the archways and stuff, but it's all like really red kind of like rusted kind of mountain kind of
Oh yeah, well the lower one here was a study, not a finished painting.
Aren't those all Michael Whalen? All three of those color ones in the center?
Yes. Yeah.
thought you
Only
said that
the
was-
three little ones on the right are not Michael Whalen.
Yeah.
So yeah, the top green one with the gold dragon and the planet, that was the Dragonflight cover that Michael Whalen painted. The one below that is one of the studies he submitted.
Mm.
And the one on the left is one of the last covers he did for her. And you can see the evolution of his thinking in a great many ways. And note, I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, but that's Anne McCaffrey on the picture on the left of that doorway.
Oh yeah, I see.
Oh, okay, I see it. Yeah,
So anyway,
that's very cool.
so
Yeah.
it's my homage, I guess.
Well, that's really cool, Todd. That you got that opportunity. That's awesome.
It's
Yeah, it is.
It's funny, Alan, when you talk about reading books again. Like, I feel like I used to. My sister, one time when we were driving up to a convention, we were listening to Butcher's first Dresden book, and I hated audiobooks. I hated them. I was like, if you like miss something and you don't like understand it and you try to think about it, you totally miss everything else that comes after it. And I was just like, I can't do audiobooks. And then at some point I decided to try a second audiobook, and I realized that audiobooks allow me to read books while I'm doing everything else in my life. And then I was just like, I will learn how to listen to audiobooks and appreciate them in the same way of reading a book. And I have read, God, probably like 20 to 30 books only because I decided that audiobooks are a legitimate way to like read books. And like Stephen King's It, that was a 40. It's weird because when people ask me like, well, what page are you on? I'm like, I'm on hour 25.
Right.
Like, audiobook, but like Stephen King, I think It was 40 something hours. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's long.
Yeah.
but it was, other than that one
But when you come out of it, you feel like you're on a journey. It's like you feel like you went on a you were with those characters for like their lifetime. That's what's crazy about it.
Yeah. So I think the last couple of books I've listened to, I had watched the TV show The Expanse, and I started listening to the audiobooks for The Expanse, and it was really cool. The audiobooks are like the TV show is amazingly so accurate to the books, and like the books are like they're good. Like there's some stuff where I'm like, but I'm like, you know what? This is fun sci-fi craziness. Like I'm enjoying this. So like I'm trying to think of the other stuff. I'm about to start. I've never read Silence of the Lambs, and I have the book from the library. I'm about to start reading Silence of the Lambs. That's exciting. So no, I'm really glad that I discovered audiobooks. And the crazy part is having a public library where you can like rent audiobooks.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm all for public libraries and audiobooks now. Like I've gotten to read so many books through them that I'm like, this is amazing.
So Todd, I have a question for you, because this has been my experience, but I wonder if you have the same. Since you started writing, do you find that you have less time to read because you're spending all your time writing?
Yes.
And if you do read, because that's my experience, like ever since I started writing, really publishing my own books, like it's over. I listen to a book and then I'll get either an idea or I'll get the opposite idea of what they're doing in their book. I'm like, oh, now I need to go work on my stuff. And it's like you start writing a world and you never get to leave it. You're just like, nope, you're screwed the rest of your life. You're going to be exploring this place.
I have to read what I have to read, and I do covers for Bain too. And I really like Toni Weisskopf. I think she's a smart cookie. And but it's still stuff. Not all of it is stuff that I would have even picked that book up, let alone read half of. And I hope most of the time that I know what the cover is by the time I'm a third of the way into the book. so that I'm not painting a spoiler on the cover, but I'm giving a good sample of what the story is about. You know what I mean, right, Alan?
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to read halfway. Sometimes you have to read to the very last word before you know what the
Well, it depends. Like that's one of the problems I always have is I try to, and it's because of Michael Whalen. I've always felt like when I'm illustrating a cover, I have to illustrate something that's in the book. I have to illustrate a scene that's in the book. So when I'm reading the book, I can look at the cover and go, oh, that's that scene. That's that part.
At least faithful to the book, if not
right.
a specific scene from, you know. It
Right.
can be but yeah, exactly.
So you were saying
the covers I think about are, do you remember the Integral Trees by Larry Niven?
I'm thinking it's some sort of a blue spacey background, and they're kind of off. They're floating, and she's kind of reaching off to the side. Is that what it is? Or it's a person?
Shit, I should probably just dial it up and show it to you. All right, so carry on. I'll be back in a minute.
Go ahead. I'm pretty sure I know what you're talking about because it's in one of his art books.
I was a Larry Niven fan. His
Okay.
science fiction was very, you know, science oriented and cerebral, and you know, I loved that kind of science fiction. Robert L. Forward.
Well, you know what I just bought recently, Todd, because of you, was I was at a used book. And I live near Ithaca, and they have a used book sale twice a year. And the one book you had mentioned a long time ago was The Mote in God's Eye. And
That's my favorite science fiction book.
I know, you said that. So I just bought it in hardcover. I got it for $1. So it's on my list.
Have you read it yet?
No, I'm ready to read it. I have it though.
Read it next.
Yeah, I think I will.
Yeah, I love that book.
Hey,
What book was that again? I'm going to put it in the chat.
The Mote in God's Eye by Larry Niven and Jerry Pournelle. It's like everything that I sort of feel is science fiction at its best. It's exciting. It's topical. It's thoughtful about things that you might never have thought about. It's full of really good science, because I was always a science nerd and I hate shitty science in a book or a movie. Don't even talk to me about Armageddon. I fucking hate that movie.
Aerosmith had a great song though. Aerosmith had a great song in that movie.
Okay, it's Saving Grace. The silver.
That's exactly right.
Hey, I got a question for you guys. Hey, you guys are talking, chatting, Alan and Todd talking back and forth about science fiction and fantasy art and doing book covers for. I never was in that area. You know, I don't want to say, but I will say it. I wasn't good enough to. You guys went on and did novels for different publishers and stuff. I've never done that. But you're talking about reading, and around 2000, you know, I started reading books, and what I was reading, it blew my mind that someone can come up with this whole concept and make the fucking money that they made off of this series of books. Blew my mind, and that was Harry Potter.
Oh, yeah.
I read the Harry Potter stuff because I was doing illustrations for Wizard of the Coast card game, and I just started reading them. And Samantha, my daughter, she was at that age, so we read them together, and I got her the books and all that stuff, and it was a great time for me being a father growing up with her, and illustrating for the cards and stuff. She thought I was just like the coolest fucking thing, you know, and she'd be down in my studio with me, and I'd be drawing, and she always had her little studio set up, and she was drawing and stuff. And I actually took great pictures of her painting. I don't know if you guys remember this, probably not, but that painting I did called The Bastion of Faith for TSR was a module cover. And I got a picture of her painting because she would always sit down there with me, and I'd give her the brush and let her paint on shit. You know what I mean? she would fuck it up, or I sometimes I leave it. But if she fuck it up, I just erase it. But I got pictures of her painting that Bastion of Faith cover, and I wish I could pull shit up like Todd does, but I can't. But it's pretty cool. It's kind of a jokey kind of thing. But just to get off the subject, one other thing about my daughter is she was sitting she came down. I was working on a Greyhawk cover, and it's like a wizard flying a griffin, and in the background is the whole city of Greyhawk, and she came down and she was sitting on my lap. She goes, "What's this, Daddy?" And she took her finger and she wiped out completely half of the fucking city. I told her, I go, "What was that?" That was it was fucking wet. That's what that was. And she wiped it out, but it was, I was able to get it back in there. But that's a
Aubrey did that to me.
Story that I'll always hold on, cherish in my heart about my daughter, because growing up.
I seem to remember when we were still working at TSR, there was when you were saying that, I seem to remember there was a point where you move your painting area to another area or another room? Did you move your studio?
I moved for me, it was a great place to be because I had access to the whole fucking warehouse. I remember that studio. You walk through the warehouse
into the facility.
Yeah, you walk through the warehouse to get to my studio in the back. Remember, it was all the way in the back in that room.
Right.
You had to walk like a half a mile to get there.
Yeah, that was like.
Yeah, but I don't remember. Why did you do that? Because we were working. We were hanging out at night painting, and then you moved some. I mean, I'm not taking it personally. I'm just saying. I forget what the reason was.
There was really no reason behind it, And to me, it was like because you know how Paul Jackways had his own studio.
Yeah, Fred.
And Fred did. So to me, I was just like, well, fucking Fred had his own place, man. I'm gonna go get my own place.
He had a cube in a hallway.
And
yeah,
I know. My studio is actually better, and plus it was like in the warehouse. So I had access to all that product that was there. But
But you were painting. I seem to remember you painting a picture with your daughter in it. But when you were in that area, when you were in that space, did you have a picture with her in it back then?
No, that wasn't my daughter. That was my niece.
Okay.
My niece Jennifer. She posed for the cover of the King of Giant Downs, where that giant's like coming up out of the tomb, like with all smoke and shit. Yeah, she was the elf that was sitting on the ground there.
Gotcha.
That was my niece Jennifer, and she also posed for a Spellfire card, a wood nymph that she posed for, a Spellfire card. Remember how we had those Spellfire cards to do and shit?
Yeah.
It wasn't just the cover art we did, man. They would throw all the black and whites here, color interior there. We had, our plates were full when we were there, man. But it was, it was a special time of my life. I'd have to say that. I don't think there was anything more special than TSR to me. Working in that studio and being involved in that company, though it went downhill fast. and the reason why I knew it was going downhill fast is because when I first started there, they had the Christmas party at the Grand Geneva where they had Santa Claus, they had prime rib and lobster. And that, my daughter went there and got a toy from Santa Claus. And my wife was there. It was my first. I met Colin there, and talking to my wife, saying, "Yeah, we're glad we got Tony. He's a great artist." That was when I first started. It was yeah, and it was the Christmas right after October of 1994, and then the next Christmas, the Christmas party wasn't that great. The next Christmas, the Christmas party was fucking cold meat platters in the fucking cafeteria. So I mean, it was going downhill, and you could tell fast that it was. The Christmas parties.
Then they hired Todd and Randy.
Next Christmas party was the one they didn't have because they laid off a third of the workforce.
Exactly.
That was fun.
That was when I got laid off at Christmas time.
Yep.
Yeah.
We worked together like a month and a half.
Yeah. pretty much.
I was so upset by that.
Yeah, that was a sad day for me, man. When Alan left it, that was fucked up, man. But
I got too close to that art director. That's the problem.
Oh yeah,
You know what it was. Tony and I had kids. That's what it was.
What? That you had kids?
We had kids.
Yeah.
we were living in homes we just bought too.
Not only that, they had just moved me from 4 states away to be there.
Yeah.
You know, I think Fred really resented that, and I don't blame him, I guess. But he was single. He had a girlfriend.
Yeah.
We were single. He had a girlfriend.
I don't know.
But you know,
I think at the time, I think the guy that hired you and Randy was trying to make a name for himself in there, and he was trying to be like, look what I'm doing kind of thing. And so
look what I'm doing.
Look who I brought in, and you don't need these other guys.
Are we talking about the art director that everybody hated,
Yes,
or
of
the
course.
creative director that everybody hated?
The art director.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. It starts with a D.
Alan, speaking of art directors, man. Alan, come on, stop. Speaking of art directors, you remember what was the fucking guy's name? We used to sing that song, sitting on his throne, eating his calzone. Ho 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 ho.
It had to be Bob.
Yeah, remember that fucking guy? What's your ETA? What's your ETA? The fucking guy was crazy, man.
What are you talking about?
Bob, I forget. I got a painting in the basement of his. It's like these people that are like on this revolving.
Bob worked in it. He didn't he work in a toll booth before he got that job? That's what he did.
Yeah, he did. He knew nothing about art, but they hired him, man. This was that other guy, Dan Riegler.
Yeah,
Riegler. That's the guy I couldn't come up with. Oh,
yeah, it was
mentioned
Dan Riegler and Bob. And then that other guy, that other art director, what was his name? Yeah, SD.
Denali.
Yeah. Leave it there.
Okay, we bought his name up. That's enough.
I can't cast aspersions because, but for him, I wouldn't have had the job.
Yeah, but see, I'm the one who got the job that he wanted. That's the problem.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, that's right, Al.
Oh, that's actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Not in a funny way, but
you guys remember? Me and Todd talked about this on the phone the other day. You guys remember, Alan? You remember when Donnelly? Maybe it was before you started. I'm not sure, but he did a cover for Dragon magazine and submitted. Remember Lester Smith?
He ripped off Frazetta.
Yeah, remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, and everybody was like, "Okay, man, Lorraine sees this, and they see this, and they're gonna."
Well, it was a major thing. It was a big thing.
Yeah, it was.
Frazetta's camp like contacted TSR and gave him basically threatened him and said, "You got to stop this."
You got to crumble up the Crescent illustration board and shove it up Denelli's ass.
Yeah,
man. That's
pretty
what
much.
you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody there at the time was like, "All right, man, this guy's going to get fired," because everybody hated him. You know what I mean?
Well, he was something.
Yeah,
That's
he was
sure.
like a backstabbing piece of shit, man. I'll say it. He was a backstabbing.
He did some pretty nasty things. The thing is that he could look at you and be the nicest guy. You'd think like, this guy's great, but then the next thing, I remember a story where he was like, he went into one of the graphic designers' offices. One of the graphic designers, and there was pen on their table, and he went in there and said something like, "What is this on the table here? I don't want to ever see you do this again." And as he was saying that, he was taking a pen and drawing on the table, and he was saying, "I don't want to ever see you do this again." Like, who does that? Like, it was crazy some of the stuff I heard about him.
Yeah, he was one of those guys that you had to be careful because, like Alan says, he was the nicest guy. He had a charm about him, and a charisma about him that would draw you in. But once you got drawn in, you were in his fucking demonic fucking world, man, and he would fuck you up and stab you any fucking way he could, man. And he was very good at it, man. And Stephen Donnelly, if you're watching,
hey.
Come find me, man. 1457 Walnut Drive. I'll be waiting.
So we missed our opportunity to all leave this while Todd was gone. So when Todd came back, he was the only one that was left in here being like, fuck you guys.
Are we actually off the air?
We're still live, but we're 2.5 hours in. So
I know, but the thing is like I was hoping we were off the air, so the Donnelly didn't hear all that fucking shit.
You gotta ask, are we off the record before you start talking shit, Tony?
Yeah. There's a difference between asking.
You think I'm scared? I gave him my fucking address, man.
You gave the internet your address, Tony.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's 698 zip code. Okay, that's the final on it. Oh, I didn't say Woodstock, Illinois. Okay, Woodstock, Illinois, not Woodstock, New York. Okay.
All right, we now know where Tony lives.
Well, Todd, you're in Seattle.
Hey.
Todd's in Seattle. Alan's in New York. Where's the Pollak German guys?
We're in Germany.
Puerto Rico.
We're on Planet Ballsack.
Yeah.
God bless Planet Ballsack.
All right, man.
So, Todd, quick question, Todd.
Now we're all kind of hammered just a little bit. I am.
Speak for yourself, Tony.
If we stay on the air a little bit longer, man, this could get really funny. I'm telling you. If it's not been funny yet, it could
already but more fun than it should have.
Todd.
Yeah.
When you were doing your Kickstarter for your book, how much of what you did you have to have done before you even did your Kickstarter?
Oh my God, not nearly as much as we probably should have. But I can't be disappointed with how it worked out because my money's in the bank.
Sure.
I can't touch it until the book is delivered.
Sure.
But there's a paycheck ahead of me. And
right.
I'm looking forward to it because I need it.
Yeah.
But to be fair, Todd, the idea of pre-making your Kickstarter project, if the Kickstarter doesn't fund, like the original, I think, idea of Kickstarter was you do a project, you do a Kickstarter, and if it gets funded, then you're like, I should do this thing. I don't know how many people still do that, but that was the original idea of Kickstarter.
Is that the way it works? I don't think it works that way. Like if the Kickstarter works, then yeah, I should do this. I think what Todd said, that he had the book almost done before you.
No, I did not.
No, you didn't.
No.
Okay, so you launched the Kickstarter. You launched the Kickstarter, and you don't even start on the fucking book.
Well, it depends.
No, let me explain.
That sounds crazy.
What I had done was I had organized all the images of every painting I might consider, every scan of every sketch or drawing into folders, and kind of figured out a hierarchy or a way of arranging them, putting them into different folders. I hired a designer and did some research on Kickstarters and the campaigns. My assistant Alan did a lot of it. Alan Morris.
Pollak.
and then
that was a good one, Al.
Preliminary design work sufficient to mock up a cover and give an idea of what some interior spreads might look like. Work that the designer did. And then we launched the Kickstarter, and I've already paid the designer, and we're still trying to get files to a state where they can be printed. I think we're there.
So were you about, like, did you have like a third of it finished, like underway, or
I
no?
wouldn't say we had 20% of it finished. I think we had a concept, and I was hitting people up for commentary, and I don't know. I might have been kind of needy about it, but I like Donato wrote me a little piece, and different authors that I've worked for wrote me little pieces, and
What about all the incentives that you included in it for people that donated money? Like, was all that started, or was that something you had to do after the fact?
most of that, like the prints, we're building the second sketchbook as we speak,
Right.
because the main art book hasn't even entered production yet. So
Right.
Yeah, the pandemic kind of slowed everything down in major ways. Not only over there, but here and in my own household. Who knew how much time you spend cooking when you can't go to a restaurant twice a week?
Right. No, I know. What made you decide to do a Kickstarter? Because your first book was not a Kickstarter. Your first book was published by someone else. So
Yeah, because they gave me a $5,000 advance, and then I never saw another penny.
Oh, okay.
And little by little, working for different publishers where they own the rights to my artwork and blah, 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 I just realized that other people are making all the rake off from my work. And Kickstarter enables me to take as much of the rake off as is fair for me. I pay my designer, pay him well, and stuff like that. But why should somebody else make all the money off of my work? This is
Right.
my work. This is my life's work. So I just felt like, maybe with a bigger publisher, I could have sold more books, but would I have made more money? Maybe.
Right.
Probably not. Because my experience with Paper Tiger was, I don't know. Mine might have been one of the last art books they published before they went bankrupt. But they were supposed to give quarterly statements, and the first couple looked like reasonable numbers, and then every statement that came in showed more returns than sales, and I'm not sure how that's even possible. And then they just stopped sending statements and responding to mail, and then they were just gone. I would have loved to have bought any copies of that book that they still had available, but I couldn't even get them to respond to me. So as far as I know, they got pulped somewhere.
And so Todd, technically they owned the copyright of the book, right? So you couldn't even self-publish a new copy of that book if you wanted to, right?
Well, I could, I think, but I shared the copyright with the woman who wrote the text for that, who was Robert Silverberg's wife. I'm ashamed that I can't come up with her name off the top of my head, but Paper Tiger wanted her name on the book to lend legitimacy to this art book by this unknown TSR guy. But the commissioning editor, Paul Barnett, was a friend of mine from conventions. Who
was the unknown TSR guy? Was it the legend?
No, it was that barely known TSR guy who had a friend named Paul Barnett, who was the commissioning editor for Paper Tiger.
Todd, the woman was Karen Huber.
Yeah. Karen Hager. Karen Hager.
Paper Tiger?
Bob Silverberg's wife was Karen Hager, and she's a writer too. And she wrote it, but she owns part of the copyright for that book. So if I were to reprint it completely, then I would owe her whatever her portion was. And I don't need her words to make another book, so I made another book without her words.
How many books you got, Todd?
1.4.
No, that's like novels. I'm talking about like, okay, you got one art book, right? Then you got
1.4 art books, and I've got kind of 6 or 7 novels.
Okay, so that would make 4 books.
A little over 3 books. 3,
Okay.
quite 4.
You're getting there, though.
I'm getting there.
You're getting there, man.
I feel like that's sort of what happened with me and Mike. Mike and I went to Gen Con for years, and we shopped our portfolios around to a bunch of people. And after years of like trying to get into the industry, I realized, I was like, oh, if I just make artwork for myself and the people that want to buy my artwork, I was like, cool. And so I remember at Gen Con one year where there was an art director who came to my booth to talk to me about like my artwork. And I was like, I have 3 things. Maybe it was 2 things. I was like, you have to pay me what my time is worth, and what you want me to draw has to be something that interests me. And if I'm not interested, I don't want to work for your book. If my heart is not in it, why would you want me to draw for your book if I'm not inspired to do it? And the person was like, how dare you like tell me you're not going to work for me? And I was like, hey, there's a person behind you that wants to buy some shit. Can you scoot over? And
I think that there's a lot of different, I mean, we all get lumped in a category of illustrator, but honestly, like I always thought I wanted to be an illustrator, but honestly, I'm a really shitty illustrator. If you come to me and tell me an idea, I can't make it cool. But if I have an idea in my head that's living with me for a while, then I can do something cool. So therefore, and there's so many people out there, so many kids I talk to, and they're like, I want to be an illustrator. I'm like, do you? Do you want to do what someone else wants you to do? Are you good at taking an idea that's maybe not that good and making it sing? Like, maybe you're just an artist. And so for me, it was really like I had to figure out that I didn't work in that arena. When I went and I shot my portfolio around, I wasn't good at making those images. It turns out I'm a good fantasy artist and I can paint my own world really well, but I can't. I mean, like, for example, I love Todd's world in his book. I think I could do some great art for it. But if Todd started telling me what he wanted me to paint out of his book, it would probably be a shitty piece of art.
That's funny because I have the hardest time painting what I see in my mind's eye from my world.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, that's every artist, right? I mean, we just can't get out what's there.
I didn't know what the cover of that book was going to be. A friend of mine who had read the manuscript had to tell me, oh, it's the statue in the ruins. And it's like, duh, you're right.
I got a funny story about all that. You know, they tell people, us being illustrators, you're given an idea from R&D that, this is what we like to see on the cover, and you're like, okay, fine. One of the Birthright projects I did, they gave me an idea. They said, we want a wizard casting a spell. I said, okay. And this was the book of Magecraft. So I went back in the art room and I putzed around with some ideas, and I came up with a Kanasi wizard, sorcerer gone rogue, and the Kanasi were black people, people of color, not ever portrayed on a cover for TSR. The only black people that were ever on there or supposedly supposed to be black were the Drow. Am I right, Todd? The Dark Elves?
The Drow, yeah.
Yeah, the Dark Elves, okay. But they were like always painted like bluish or indigo. I was putting Afro-American people on there with tribal tattoos and stuff. And they never had that on the cover. Well, this cover I did for Magecraft, I had the Kanasi, black person casting a spell. kind of a Morgan Freeman kind of character.
Okay.
Yeah. And
I have no idea where this is going.
he was raising the dead, and the skeletal is coming. There's a skeleton in front coming up out of the grave, and there's a whole army of undead behind him, and he's standing there with his hand up like this. I think Alan actually posed for this cover. Remember that, Al, with your hand up? I couldn't get the hand right, and I was like, "Come on, pose for me, pose." I'm taking Polaroids and shit, and I started doing the drawing. And they never came back to ask me what I was working on. They just figured, Tony's going to work on it, let him get it done. I was the slowest painter there, so just give him his time,
I don't know. You and Fred could do a battle. Who's the slowest?
Yeah, I think I would win. I would win, but Fred might win, but his shit would be a lot tighter and better than mine.
Wow.
But anyway, I did this Wizard, Raising the Dead. It was a Canasi warrior. And first of all, they didn't want a black person on the cover, and second of all, the wizard could not raise the dead unless they were like an evil sorcerer. I said, well, what the fuck? You never told me that. And I was halfway through with the painting, so they created this character of a wizard that has gone rogue and was raising the dead and creating this army, and they made a whole module on this guy. They gave him a name and everything because they liked the character and how I did it, so it worked out. And so that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And my thumbs up to Fred. Fred's my bud. He knows that.
Man. Fred was,
but he's as meticulous as you want to be when it comes to painting.
I mean,
it takes him a long time.
He's tighter than the skin on an apple, man.
That's for sure.
Yeah, man, his stuff was amazing. I just wish he would have the way he painted
tighter than the skin on an asshole.
No, tighter than the skin on an apple.
An apple. That makes way more sense.
It does make more sense.
Either on an asshole too.
Well, apple skin can be pretty tight, I suppose.
He was tighter than the skin on an asshole. But anyway, I mean, Fred was amazing. But what freaked me out about Fred is that he told me that when he painted his figures, that he would paint one layer of color that, this flesh tones and stuff. Remember how he had the really tight, cool flesh tones? Mm-hmm. Those would be like 3 layers of color. Mm. It wouldn't be just like one pass and he's done. Right. It was like one pass, then he'd go back over with the glaze over that, and the glaze over that. And his stuff was just, I mean, Fred, man, his stuff was fucking amazing, man.
Yeah, tight.
But he wasn't the most sociable person you wanted to talk.
He's much better now. Back then he was a tough egg to crack.
Yeah, he was.
But he's not like that anymore.
Oh no, you get older and you get more humble and shit like that, man. And Fred said he got out of the fantasy field. He didn't want to do fantasy anymore. And he was showing me images of the stuff he was working on with tattoos and stuff and commission work. And it's all skulls and shit. I go, how can that not be fucking fantasy, man? It's the same shit. You're just tattooing a skull on somebody's arm. It's fantasy, man, But, Fred's cool, man. I love Fred, man. He was a real inspiration for me when I first started there. Even though he was kind of a recluse, I would always go down and find time to go to his little cubicle and stuff, which was like Harry Potter under the closet,
It was. Yeah. I had I know when I first started working there, before I started working there, I went to my first Gen Con, and Jeff, Fred, Rob.
I wasn't there.
I'm trying to think if you were there for the very first one. You might have been. I'm not sure. It was before I started working there. It was like the year before I started working there.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to give you the impression I was a dick or nothing. Did you mean?
No. I don't remember I don't know if you were on staff yet at that point when the Gen Con that I'm talking about.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Brom was there, and Fred and Rob, and I'm not sure.
If Brom was there, I wasn't hired yet.
Yeah. So I remember going there. It was when I first started doing freelance work for them. It was probably a year before I started working there, and so I did. So they Peggy Cooper was the art director for. I forget what line it was, but
Peggy Cooper was the one who hired me.
Well, she got me hired. She got me in front of the people that hired me.
That's the same thing I'm talking about.
Yeah. And she, so I went, I booked a flight with, Midwest Express and flew out to Gen Con. I got a whole crazy story about how that whole thing had nothing to do with TSR or anything, but the hotel room, I was supposed to be staying at a hotel room. And then it turns out when I got there, it was being subletted by the people who were like living there. There was some sort of crazy thing that went on. And all of a sudden I'm in a hotel room for the first time ever doing this. I'm in a hotel room and these people are coming and going from the hotel and like yelling at the woman that's like staying in there, and you can't be doing this, you have to get out. And she was like freaking out, and so she was subletting her apartment, which is illegal, and she was renting it to me, and I had no idea. So all of a sudden I'm being like booted out the side door, and some guy in like a limousine is taking me out into the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, I don't even know what I thought I didn't know where they were taking me. And I end up in like some suburban part of Wisconsin, probably east of Lake Geneva, and I can't remember the name of the town, but it was like Beaver Cleaver Town, and so
was it Delavan?
No, it was way east of that, closer to Milwaukee, and I can't remember the name of it. But anyway, this old lady comes out.
Did you think they were going to kill you?
I don't know what was going on. It was the weirdest thing ever. I mean, it was really weird. I'm like, what's going on? Like, all of a sudden, it's like the woman's freaking out, and like she's getting in trouble from the hotel, and she's freaking out, and she's like, "You ruined everything! You ruined everything!" And I'm like, "What did I do? I didn't do anything. Like, I don't know what you're talking about." And next thing you know, she's like, some guy comes in, and they're whispering, and then it's like you have to go back then this back staircase into this like alleyway, and next thing I'm getting in a car, and I'm being driven down this highway, and I'm like, what is going on? And I end up in suburbia, and I get out of the car, and some lady named Gladys comes out of her house, and she's like really kind to me, and I go, and I'm staying at her house evidently for the weekend. And that was my first Gen Con, and I had to take a bus down to Milwaukee to the convention, back and forth, the whole time. But in the process, I met all the artists that were on set. Keith Parkinson was there. Was at the convention part of. I think he had his own table though at that point.
Well, that explains everything. If Parkinson was there.
Yeah. And so I went. So I had met everybody, and the only guy that I didn't meet that I wanted to meet was Fred. And so it was the last day, and I was leaving the convention. I was walking from the exhibit hall out into the lobby where all the escalators are and everything. And I'm walking, and I turn around, and I look up, and here comes Fred down the escalator. And I'm like, oh my God, there he is. I finally am going to meet Fred Fields. I couldn't believe it. And so I waited at the bottom of the escalator, and he comes down, and I'm like, I ran over to him, and I'm like, Fred. And he's like, what? And he, of course, was not very social at that point in his life. And so I was like, I'm a huge fan. I'm going to be like, I don't think I got the staff position yet. So, but I made a big stink over, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, you're like the one guy I wanted to meet. And I can't believe I finally met you and the whole thing. And I take a picture of him, and, he was really kind of shy, he's kind of like, don't bother me. I got to get out of here, And so I took a picture of him, and I still have I have the picture still. I don't have it, so I can show you. I wish I had it, but anyway, that was the whole thing. And then I don't know how many months later, it was less than a year, I got hired as staff, and I'm like, here I am. Like I'm in the building with these guys now. It was crazy. And then I like went over to Fred's little office, and I was like, and he was like, what? Like, how can you possibly be here? You were just a dude that was like, in the lobby, like bugging me for a picture. And here I am, like, in the building with him working. It blew my mind. So
that's a great fucking story, man.
Yeah,
that's fucking awesome, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, so we're about an hour beyond where we originally said we would be.
What?
We've been here for 3 hours.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying that like
me, Alan, and Todd haven't gotten together and talked for a while. And when we were at TSR, these were the guys, man.
No. I guess technically Mike and I can just like wander off and go to bed, and you guys can keep going. Stop.
Yeah, we probably could, man.
Yeah, we probably could. We probably shouldn't, though.
Yeah, right.
I think we all
That's
have
got booked, right?
Well, we have to get some sleep or get some work done. One of the two.
Yeah, there's no work getting done tonight.
Tomorrow's Father's Day. Are you kidding me?
Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go work, man.
Oh,
Are you?
right.
I'm not working tomorrow.
Happy solstice. It's summer now.
Yeah, summer solstice too, man. Summer solstice and happy Father's Day to you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those of you who are fathers.
Mike, if you guys got kids, happy Father's Day, man.
2 out of 4 people with Polish names are fathers.
Mike and I have a dad, so that's cool.
That's something.
Okay, you can play as well.
Well, you got Todd, grandfather.
No. I
Oh,
may never get a grandchild.
I'm the grandfather. So,
Are you really?
well, my stepdaughter Lauren, when me and Connie got together, Lauren was, I believe, 3 or 4. So I really consider her mine anyway. Love her.
Yeah, totally.
She's got 2 grandkids, Kyle, who's just turned 13, and Beatrix, who's
That's crazy.
So I got 2 grandson and a granddaughter, 13 and 8.
That's cool.
They're awesome, man. Kyle's he's funny as hell. Loves like my artwork and stuff, and I'm gonna give a shout out to somebody who I think I'd rather punch than give a shout out to. But anyway,
Wait,
Randy Post,
no.
RK Post, the man who got me into collecting toys.
Oh,
Fucking
Yes.
piled up-
We used to do some major toy runs.
piled up in my basement, toys galore. And
Spawn.
my
and what are you gonna do with them?
my grandson wants to hook me up on eBay. He's going to sell them, but he wants like a 20%
Yeah.
commission. Yeah, so he's a little conniver. But anyway, I figured if he wants to do the work to do it, man, hey, I'll give him fucking 50%, man. I got so much toys, and if Randy Post, bam.
I bought a couple of toys because of Randy Post, and after only a couple, I realized I really don't want to do this. It's not a thing that I really want to get invested
I personally took it to the next level, man. We were like competing for who could.
We were doing Toys R Us runs.
Yeah,
Oh,
he had them all posted on the wall. He had them hooked up on the wall, and he'd be like, man, that's a cool way to display your toys. So I started doing the same shit. Now I got a basement full of the fucking shit, man.
Me too.
Randy Post, love you, man. Love you. Thank you. I got a lot of toys like, he started me with the Star Wars 12-inch figures. Yeah, like Darth Vader and all the characters. I went from Star Wars. He got me going to fucking Spawn.
Spawn. That was the one that I think of with Randy.
Yeah. Well, you see Spawn in the background here. I
had no idea.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, toys galore with us guys, man. We love. Well, Todd says he doesn't like toys, but
well, I love
toys.
The thing is,
I love everything about them, except I just don't really want to have a room dedicated.
I know, but they're sculpted by an artist in wax or whatever they're using.
Exactly.
They're sculpted. It's like a piece of art.
I always wanted to do that shit, man. Yeah. Todd, Alan, you remember when, I forget what convention it was, but the movie, the Spawn guy behind me, remember that movie when it was coming out, when McFarlane released the Kiss toys?
Yes.
Yeah, remember that shit? Remember?
owns those. I bought those for Mike for Christmas when I worked at KB Toys.
That's where I got my first edition was from KB Toys.
Mike's like, where are those toys at?
Then we went to remember when we went to the Kiss concert?
Yes.
The fucking seats we had?
Yes, that was
fucking wicked, man.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
Good time, man. Good
So,
time.
Paul, what's up? Paul,
Kiss was a big influence in my life. I'm
Me
sorry.
too. Me
They
too.
were.
So speaking of
Halloween, when I arrived at TSR
fingers
at
up.
the end of September, and then a month later, first Halloween, you and Don and Paul Hanchett and
Exactly. Yeah. I wish I could pull that picture up, man. I wish Todd, you got that picture?
who was the fourth?
Alan.
Oh, Alan.
And Alan had the best makeup, man. It was like pristine.
I have pictures of it. I have pictures of that.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah,
pull
you
it up?
guys were hilarious.
Wow. Todd,
And I had the alien.
the guy that's on the call with us.
Alan was Ace Frehley. I was Gene Simmons. Don Murin was Paul Stanley.
Yeah.
And Paul Hanchett was Peter Criss. I remember doing Paul Hanchett's makeup, man. He was really reluctant. He didn't want to do it. But we needed a Peter Criss because Don.
We posed in that tunnel.
Hilarious,
At the end of the tunnel.
considering he.
Yeah, I got some great shots of that stuff, man. It was a good time.
But
Anyway,
so
Paul, you were
so-
saying?
going back to Spawn, so the voice actor who did the voice of Spawn on the animated series is Keith David, who was the voice of Goliath on Gargoyles.
Mhm.
And earlier this year, Mike and I were at a convention in Florida called Pensacon, and I'm talking to someone about artwork, and Mike is helping someone put on elf ears, and I just stop talking to the person I'm talking to art with, and I look over and I'm like, holy fuck, it's Keith David. And I just walk, like, I'm really sorry, but like Lord of Kodo, Goliath on Gargoyles, like I just sorry, Mr. David, like oh my god, and he's getting elf ears, and he's like, he just decided he wanted elf ears, and he's getting elf ears. Mike painted them up to match his skin tone and everything, and then he's like points down, he's like, what are those? And Mike's like, oh, those are some horns, like they glue on your forehead. And he goes, I need some of those too. I'm like, can I get a photo of you? And he goes, I told those two kids behind us that they can't get fuck it, take a photo of me. So I'm like, he told his handler, he's like, take their cameras, get pictures. And he came over and like posed with us. And so I've got all these photos of Keith David getting elf ears and horns in our. As soon as he walks away, I get on my phone. I'm like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god.
And then he went up to the green room at Pensacon and he started calling out all the other guests. And he was like, you know, you're a loser unless you have elf ears. And like, and apparently he did, you know, people pay for photos with stars. He did photos all night in our elf ears with people. Like people were paying $100 to get a photo with him. And he's got like our elf ears on. And then it actually, I was talking to my friend the other day, because we're talking about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. The next day, a woman came down and she's like, oh, I gotta get elf ears. And I was like, wow, like she is so pretty. And it turned out it was, she's in a punk rock band. I can't remember her name right now because I'm bad with names, but she played Joan of Arc in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah,
That was like my first like
very pretty.
crush of a warrior woman when I was a kid. Like when I saw Joan of Arc and Bill and Ted's, I was like, you know, Bill and Ted were with the princesses. I was like, no, I want Joan of Arc. So, I got to do her elf ears at Pentagon too, so that was pretty cool.
Me too.
That's cool.
It's funny talking about meeting people and stuff like that. When I was at Dragon Con, and Todd was at the same convention I was at because we roomed together and our booth was together.
And he slept in a tub, right?
Yep, yeah, that's the same convention. I met the Chewbacca. What's his name?
Mayhew.
Yeah, he died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got pictures of him with the guy who played Boba Fett. Those two guys together, and just seeing that guy. I mean, it was the same like when you saw the guy with the elf ears and stuff. I was just like, holy shit, here's fucking Chewbacca, man. And I mean, he looks like Chewbacca even without the fucking makeup on, man. he had a huge T-shirt that went down to up above his thighs. That was the face of Chewbacca, and he had a beard, and his hands were just like huge, and he had that same Chewbacca fucking walk where he dragged that one leg. That's the way that guy actually walked, and it was amazing meeting this guy, man. I was just like, holy shit, man.
At one of the ElexCons, when ElexCon was still in Toontown, what's it, Altoona?
Allentown, or was it Altoona?
Altoona. Toontown.
I liked Altoona.
I liked Altoona, but at one of those ElexCons, you had to go to some peripheral airport to get there.
Okay.
You couldn't ever fly straight into Altoona. And Peter Mayhew and I had a connecting flight in one of those peripheral airports. And we sat and talked for about half an hour. It was amazing. He told me about an incident which I would have loved to have been there with a camera, because he and Kenny Baker were hanging out in a bar. Peter Mayhew, Kenny Baker. And Kenny Baker got so drunk he passed out, and then Peter Mayhew carried him out of the bar in his arms like a baby. I'm like, wow, are you kidding me?
I see your title is now The Legend. Did you notice that?
You did that. Oh, Paul. Couldn't have been Paul.
Todd, I promise one day that Mike and I will carry you out of a bar like a baby. I promise. One day we will do it.
We won't ever have to. I've seen him drink. I've seen him drink and walk back to his room with no problems.
That's why he's the legend.
People always try to drink me under the table, and they never do.
Chip got close.
Chip?
Yeah.
Chip cheated badly. He played me with alcohol, really good alcohol.
Yeah, he did.
I don't even know if he's here. I haven't seen his name in the conversation. Anyway, yeah, he and his wife are good friends. I have this entire family of friends from Dragon Con, from having gone to that show for a dozen years, I guess, or close to a dozen. I don't know. It's like this whole other Southern family that I have that I don't get to see this year. That really kind of sucks.
Man, I've been to Dragon Con once.
What's that?
I've only been to Dragon Con once, and it was when I was at TSR, and it was a lot of fun. But I know they're like, you can't get a table unless you're like already in there, it seems. So getting in there is tough.
It's that's true. It's juried, but it's also really one of the best art shows in all of conventions, because they keep out the copycats and the riffraff and they try to keep the art really legit, and they've done a good job of that. And that's to the credit of he who you might see as your demon in the art show. And you're not wrong, but to his credit, he built that show into what it is, which is a really good art show. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. There's just all these people that I know from having been there for so many years who feel like family to me. And you guys and Chip and April. And
it's spread out a lot more now too, isn't it? The way it's set up. Like the
it's huge.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, like the first years that Aridani did it, I think there was like maybe only like 19,000 people. Now there's 85,000 people that go, it's kept the same feel for sure. It's like just a giant party, which is crazy that it's grown that much, but you
got to switch from like building to building, right? Like you're not just in one place. It's
there's not a convention hall.
It used to be hotels. There's the Hyatt and the Marriott, and then they added the Hilton, and now there's like the Sheraton and the Westin and the America's Mart Convention Center. It's massive.
But it feels like it's all one big thing now.
As long as it's not raining outside.
It's one big thing, like an octopus or a coral reef is one big thing.
Right.
Yeah, like every hotel has its own feel, and everyone's doing their own thing. It's a really strange, like for years, because we did the costuming, we always were in the Marriott showing off whatever big costume we had done for the year. And, we were younger, so we were drinking a lot more, lots of partying. And that's, that's the thing that show.
What does younger have to do with drinking?
Because you could get drunk and wake up early and not feel like shit.
Yeah. Some people can do it. As I've gotten older, I now actually ask what's in the flask I'm about to take a shot of,
Please, yeah.
But
What is that blue and gold one you have there, Paul?
Oh, this one is it is a blueberry sour with cocoa nibs.
That doesn't sound good.
Are
No,
these your dead soldiers?
It is delicious.
Really?
Yeah.
What's the company?
Collective Arts. It is a brewery in Wisconsin.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big fan of sours, and we my girlfriend and I were going up to Madison, Tennessee, and we were like, well, we should just go to Kroger and get some beers. And I was like, no, we should go to the liquor store. And I was like, the liquor store has like fancy beers, and we pulled in there, and actually, I think I spent like $100 at the liquor store. I was like, look at this beer, fuck this beer, and I just made a bag. And I walked I had a reusable grocery bag, and I had to actually carry it about an inch above the ground because I was afraid the handles were going to rip off. So I was just like dragging it behind me, and I got to the register, and she rang up everything, and she was like, "Oh, it's $87." And I was like, I think you didn't scan the scotch. And she's like, you looked at her thing. I was like, that's the most expensive thing I'm buying, and you didn't scan that. And she's like, thank you. And she scanned it, and she's like, oh, that's $140. I was like, I was like,
what was I thinking?
I can't feel like a good human being if I walk out of here and you literally didn't scan the most expensive, like anything. If you didn't scan any of my things, I would feel bad. But I'm like, of all the things to accidentally misscan, please scan my $60 bottle of scotch. I want to pay for that.
You should have. She should have been a nice customer service woman and just said, since you were so honest, you can have the bottle.
Nah, it's all good.
No, it's not good, man. It's fucked up. She should have done that. Yeah, that would have been customer service.
I just feel bad because I'm getting all my booze delivered either from meaderies up in Pennsylvania or the local liquor store. And like, what do they think of me ordering in these like 4 boxes of wine? And it's like, dude, I saw you 2 weeks ago. And it's like, yeah, like weird times, right?
Hey, you like your shit, man. What the hell? That's the way I look at it. Hey, man, it was nice talking to you guys. Meeting you, Paul and Mike. It was you guys are entertaining. And
that's why Todd keeps us around.
Hey, man, well, Todd and Alan, I love you guys both, man. You guys are
back, man.
It's been a long journey for us, man. Someone's taken a higher road and better road, like Todd and Alan. You guys are
well, Todd's the king. He's the king.
Well, your legion's beyond me, man. I'm to you guys, I'm a hack. So
No.
We don't think there's a hack.
And Alan, just remember, Todd's not a king. Todd's a legend.
Oh, right. I've heard that.
He's got his name right fucking there, man. So
hey, I will say
fucking work. I could blend Alan's hair and Tony's hair on my head. There's something between the two. You got that sexy curl going there, Tony.
Todd, I will say this to you. There's a lot of guys out there that do what they do and are not okay with helping other people out. And if it wasn't for you, honestly, my digital career would not even be around. I wouldn't even exist. I mean, all the work that I've done for Bain Books was based on what you taught me. In that one day that Todd sent me this JPEG of a piece that he did, and it was great. And I said, wow, you know, that's awesome. And Todd's like, yeah, I did it digitally. And I said, what? How is that even possible? It looked exactly the way he painted with oils. And he's like, yeah, it's with Corel Painter. And I couldn't believe it. So I was like, how do you do that? How does that even happen? And he sent me a disc of step-by-step of how he painted that piece. In fact, I think you sent me 2 discs and when it all came down to it. But that was like a big eye-opener. I mean, that's you know, it took me a while because at first I did a few pieces for tour books, or one piece for tour books, and they never used me again after that, unfortunately. But at this point, I mean, I do a lot of digital. I do mostly digital for clients, and it's all thanks to Todd.
Me too.
Well,
I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, a lot of guys wouldn't do that. You know, I've known guys. I'm not going to say who they are, but I mean, you
when
were
I was trying to break into this business, there were a bunch of artists who said, "Oh, you're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing." But there were 2 artists in particular who said, "Oh, you know, this is good, but here's what you might want to work on." And I have never forgotten those 2 artists, Joe DeVito and Kevin Murphy. And Kevin Murphy made a lot of enemies and had to leave.
Yeah, he was a piece of work, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. He's really
But he and I always got along okay. He never wronged me, and I've always been able to kind of tolerate people who are kind of in the spectrum. You know what I mean? I can see past that and appreciate the other things that they bring besides their emotional dysfunction or whatever.
Sure.
Their arrogance.
Yeah, their arrogance, Tony. I don't even know what I was talking about.
You were talking about the upper echelons, the clique, the arrogance.
Those 2 guys, Joe DeVito and Kevin Murphy, who gave me what I was looking for when I needed it. I always feel like I have to be honest and pay it forward, and never lie to an artist who asks me for critique. I always want to tell them, you know, I'm not going to tell them, you suck, but I might tell them, you kind of need to work on everything. But, you know, you pay it forward. That's what you do. You pay it forward.
You know, you guys got a couple of nice stories there. Alan with Todd and how he turned him onto the digital, and you looked at that, and you with your Murphy shit. What I'm going to say is that what I felt from the first get-go is what Larry Elmore did for me, get me in the studio, and I had to return the favor to somebody. It was like he gave me that feeling and that you know, being wanted, you know, and being like you know, not maybe as equals, but you know, put him in the art studio so he can learn and to be around those guys and you know, get that, you know how we were in there. We just bounced ideas off each other and stuff, and it was just a great environment. And I had to, when he did that to me, I had to push that on to somebody else, and that somebody else was Alan Pollack. You know, so when Alan came, you know, I said, hey, he's got to be in the studio. I'm going to make a space for him, and this kid is coming in, which he was a kid to me because Alan, how old are you?
Well, I'm 55 now.
You're 55. I'm 63. So for when you were coming in, I was a lot older than you at that time, you know, and I was just like, well, I'm still that older than you at this time. You know?
Yeah, the difference seems smaller now.
I don't think it's going to ever change.
But you know where I'm going with this. I had to pass that on. And once I did that, and, you know, hey, Alan turned into what he did. And it's just, you know, I'm not taking credit for that by all means, but, you know, I hope that, you know, by bringing it, but the way I acted toward Alan, you know, helped him where to grow to where he is.
Well, yeah, of course it did. I mean, that's the thing. Like we all do stuff all the time that you don't even realize what it does for other people. I mean,
Yeah, you don't know how much you touch other people, man.
right.
Even with our fans now, and I'm sure you guys get like, emails and the messages from people and stuff saying, "Hey, I love your art, and this and that and the other thing," and if it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be who we are, man. And people need to look at it that way. I know, and going back to talking with me and Todd were talking about the upper echelons or the arrogance of the higher ass people who think they're just fucking gods and the fans are the pieces of shit. They should look at it the same way. If it wasn't for the fans of all our art and playing the game that we illustrate, we wouldn't be who we are, man. And I fully accept that, man. They're the people.
One of those fans.
Here's to the fans, man. You guys are the best.
Yeah, I was playing D&D. When I saw my first Jeff Easley cover.
Jeff Easley.
It was the guy fighting the hill giant in the forest.
That was me too, man. Same fucking painting.
That was the painting that just boom. Wait, something just
exactly. There was something about it.
He just grew up.
Yeah,
it became a serious thing.
I look at that painting the same way now. If I look at it, it just tweaks something to me. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm trying to think which painting you're talking about, because the one that I keep thinking of is the one with the giant. He's like swirling his hands. He's coming up out of the ground, and
that was another one. That was another one, Al. That was like a fold out in the center of a calendar.
Yeah, that's the one that sticks in my mind.
But this one, I know what Todd's talking about. This one was like, nope, that's not it.
No, that's not it.
That's not it.
Try.
Nope.
Monster Manual.
Nope.
I've never seen that one.
I did search for Jeff Easley Hill Giant, guys. I don't know what to say.
I wish Jeff was a really good website.
Which book was it? Was it the Monster Manual or was it?
I think it was a Monster Manual, yeah. And
it
was
all of Jeff's art up online and easy.
Wait, go back up, man. Go back up.
I like that one. That one in the middle. Yeah, that one's great.
That's not the one we're talking about.
No, this is all turquoises. There's like the bluish greens in the background of the forest.
I love that one. That one with the dragon coming through the mountains. That's one of my favorite ones too.
You guys, I dialed it right.
Yeah, that's great. I love that one.
All right, try these terms, Paul, because this works perfectly for me. Easily. Monster Manual Giant. Second one. No,
that's the fucker. That's the money maker right there, man.
That's the one.
That's the one. When I saw that piece, I was just like, I got to be a fantasy illustrator, man. And I don't know why.
That second would go over right now. The red one. No, down. That one. Yeah, that was one of the ones that did it for me.
Oh yeah, I like that one too. The guy with the big ass claws and shit.
Yeah.
I think this is the one for me.
That's a cool one.
This seems like a great place to end this. Like
you can't end it now, man. Now you got to Google my fucking pictures, man. Just Google my name. They should pull some shit up on mine.
The rule is you have to do that yourself. If you can't do that yourself,
all right, man. That's the way you're gonna feel. Fuck you guys.
No,
because I don't mean Alan and Todd. I mean Mike and Paul guys. I'm sorry. I'm a computer moron. Man. I can't do it.
You're right, you bunch of Pollak.
There's a great way to end it on a happy note of Jeff Easley being an inspiration for all of us of why we did what we did. I thought that was a really great way to end it.
Well, I'm sorry I fucked that up for you. But anyway,
just a little bit.
I'm sorry, man. But I just want to bring up. I got a Jeff Easley story at the end here, if it's the end at all. But anyway, I have. Hey, remember that charity he had that he would never get rid of? It was falling apart. He would screw the fucking arms together and shit. And he didn't want a new chair. Oh, I don't want to cost the company any more money and shit. I go, Jeff, you're like the fucking god here, man. You can get a new chair. So he sawed off the arm from that chair and he signed it for me. And I still have it too.
That's awesome.
And then he finally got a new chair. He cut it up and shit and sawed off pieces. And I got one of the arms and he signed it for me. And I still got it to this day. I think I might sell it to Coder. All right, guys, you want to end this, man? You know,
Tony, there's a beautiful story to end this on.
Hey, man, Paul and Mike, it was great meeting you guys, man. This was a fun time for me.
Awesome.
Good talking to Todd and Alan. Alan, hey, man, I love you. I haven't seen you in such a good time. And I watched you and your wife singing and shit, man. Little Susie, wake up. You guys are fucking awesome, man.
Thank you.
Mike and Paul, thank you for putting me back together with Alan and Suds for an evening. This was too cool.
Yeah, it was a good time. I'm surprised we didn't get any people chiming in. Who was in charge of that?
Oh, they were chiming in all the time.
Well, how come you didn't say something, man?
It should be on your screen too.
No, it wasn't on my screen at all.
No, the only reason I can see chat is because I have YouTube open on another.
Oh, wait, am I the only one that gets to see the fucking
thing? I don't see anything.
Yeah, you were supposed to say, hey.
Lying.
Not bad. I'll get it right next time.
I'm surprised. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, nobody's watching this shit? But hey, I'm having a good time anyway. Fuck it, you know?
Yeah. It doesn't matter if anyone watches it. It's all about just us being stupid drinking at a bar.
There were times
it's all about us being stupid. Mission accomplished.
No. There were times we were being stupid, but most of the time we knew what we were fucking talking about, man.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's right.
Alan, Tony, it was awesome hanging out with you guys.
You too, man. I'll see you guys. Good to see you. I love y'all, man. Great
to see you guys.
You too, Paul and Mike. I love you too, man. Even though I just met you tonight, but hey, you guys are cool. Thanks for having me. All right.
Bye, guys.
All right. Bye-bye, everybody.